Allegiance. Does everyone have their agenda in the back? There's copies in the back. Before we get to item number 2, if you look closely at the agenda, it was items 1 through 12, and then after number 12, and also for the board members, they went to new business. New business is still part of the agenda. So item number 1 under new business will become 13. So all board members and stakeholders, if you're following along, consecutively after 10, 11, 12, you'll see the word new business. Number 1 in reality is 13. And then you just go from there, 13, 14, 15, 16, all the way up to the last item, which will be 22 on the agenda this evening, which is our adjournment. I usually prepare the agenda, but I was out last Wednesday because I've been recently taking police department training to further assist you guys in the community. And the agenda was completed by the 3 committee members that were there at the executive committee meeting, which was our treasurer and 2 of our secretaries. So please, stakeholders, when you wish to follow along with us, just be sure that those items beginning under new business, starting with 1 through 10, it possibly is, will now be 13 through 22. And it's just like a little clerical correction. So at this time, I'd like to ask the stakeholders and the board members that are here to please stand. We'll honor our Pledge of Allegiance with item number 2 at this time. Ready? Begin. Thank you. At this time, item number 2 is closed. Item 1 is closed as well, but we'll now move to item 3 on the agenda, which is our roll call. Aaron Ostrom. Anthony Manzano, I'm here. Jackie Carrillo. Kathy Leal. Perla Flores. Michelle Corsantes. Karina Cruz. Thank you. Jose Luna. Present. Tom Williams. Present. Sani Abdul-Jabbar. Marcia Guzman. Cynthia Sandoval. Hugo Pacheco. Stephanie Escobar. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At this moment, we have 10 board members present. There should be a minimum of 8 of us sitting here at the table before we conduct business. So let me check. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Plenty. We do have quorum with 10 members and 8 at the table. We're able to conduct business. Item 3 is now closed, and we move to item number 4, which are public comment cards. I have the public comment cards here before me, and I'll be calling your name. One little note also on the agenda is it indicates that there'll be 2 minutes for public speakers. I offer 3 minutes for public comment speakers. The city requires a minimum of 1 minute. And being the president back in 2010, I felt that 1 minute was too short or minimum, and I don't like to serve our stakeholders at the minimum. So I've increased it, and I've always been at 2 minutes. But I like to listen to what the people have to say without interrupting them, and sometimes 2 minutes might be a little bit short. So what we'll do is we'll take 3-minute public comment cards for a total of 30 minutes, and we should have no more than that under item number 4. So just let me confirm these stakeholder cards. Sylvia, is it item 4, public comment? General public comment or the agenda item?
General public.
Okay, 4. Same thing with Mark Lagassi? Yes. Mark, general public comment?
General public comment.
Okay, 4. I see Mickey Jackson.
General public comment.
Okay, 4. We'll start with Troy Carbajal. I have your public comment card first in front of me. We'll give you 3 minutes, sir.
Good afternoon, board, stakeholders. My name is Troy Carbajal. I want to once again thank this board here for your support, both personally and monetarily, for the 3rd annual Ascot Hills Challenge, which is coming up September 23rd. I have some cards here. I'll give the stakeholders more information in the back. We have we have some new medals to give out this year. The chief himself, Los Angeles Fire Chief Ralph Terrazas, who has ran this race the last 2 years. He has personally donated these Los Angeles City Fire Department challenge coins. They're very rare. It has his name on it and printed in the back. These will be given out to the top 10 overall runners, in addition to the die-cast medals that every runner will get, as well as the top 3 in our age division groups. One more quick thing is that with LA32's funding for this event, we will be giving you 20 slots, 20 comped spots to do with as you please. I would encourage you to use that for the youth of this zip code 90032, as we did the last few years. We had, through our sponsors, we were able to get 100 children, 100 youth to run this event, and some of them have never even crossed the finish line and got a medal presented and got all that fanfare. So it was a really, really good sight to see. So if you want to just get your whole entire board out there, we can do that, or if you want to just say we have these 20 kids. If anybody else wants to do anything similar to that, stakeholders, please see me after this meeting is over, and I'll be more than willing to answer all your questions that you might have. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Troy, very much for hosting a great event in the community. Thank you. We now have a public comment card for Paul Mackley.
Hello, I'm Paul. I'm from the Shakespeare Center. Hello, everybody. I have been here for the past couple of months. I submitted a neighborhood purpose grant, and turn this on. Hello? Okay. As you can see by the handout I put out today, we've been very fortunate in that we have 7 other neighborhood councils so far who've agreed to support our project at Beth at Vilama's house. And I would love to get support from LA32, but I have been having some difficulty getting on the agenda. I'm not sure what the problem is. I thought maybe there's some confusion with the paperwork. I did submit the paperwork 2 months ago, but I brought another copy tonight in case that's the problem. With your permission, I'd like to resubmit this and ask the board if there is some way to expedite the request. We actually just had our first rehearsal last night, and we still don't have all of our funding in hand. So it is an important issue for us. I'm not sure exactly how we've missed the agenda for the past 2 months, but please tell me what it is that I can do to enable this, to expedite this, to make it happen. I'm obviously not doing something wrong. Well, I'm just throwing it out as a question, yes.
Okay, I don't want to interrupt. I just didn't want to give you your full 3 minutes before I could respond, but I want to give you your full time, sir.
Okay, well, that's basically it. It's just how do I get on the agenda? I'm wearing the colors.
Okay, well, thank you for approaching us again, and I believe you did submit your MPG last month. The process
Actually, it
is...
was 2 months ago I submitted it.
You submitted 2 months back.
Yes.
The process is automatic. It goes for agenda setting through the treasurer and the recording secretaries, including myself. But like I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, I was not at the executive committee meeting, so it's perhaps an oversight of the other 3 executive committee members to not include you. What we can do, and when is your event? I know we have the fire.
It's in September. It's in
September.
the first week in September.
Okay, just as a point of clarification, September.
So I was wondering if there's any way possible to get a vote.
There is a way, sir. What we could do is call for a special meeting between now and then, hopefully in the next week, which would give us 7 days. I could agendize this specific item since we've already received your MPG, and we would just have to call a special meeting, and if we have 8 members quorum, then we could hear your item, sir.
Okay, that's great, and I will definitely, will be here.
It might be at a different location. I'm sorry if it wasn't done tonight. Like I said, it could have just been a little oversight, and I don't think it was done intentionally, but I'll make sure that we could have the board meet to hear your issue, especially since you've been approaching us for the past couple months. I remember you've been here.
Okay,
That's the best we could do, call for a special meeting.
so what, should I contact somebody?
Let me see, excuse me real quick. Do you have his email?
It's on his application.
Okay. What I do is I notify the stakeholders, and we also notify the... Okay.
So is it paul@shakespearecenter.org?
That's the email, and my cell phone's 213-519-4282.
I got that as well.
And Cynthia's asking because she's our corresponding secretary, and she'll make sure that we inform you specifically for this item. My job is to call the meeting, and hopefully 8 members show up, which we call them a special meeting. It requires 24-hour notice, and then we inform the stakeholders. We put it on our Facebook, we put it on our website, we send it to the early notification system. But Cynthia will do a fine job in personally contacting you once I've established a date, a time, and location.
Okay, and please let me know if there's anything else that I can do to,
I think you've done plenty. We have to take care of the rest.
so sit down.
No, you've done plenty, sir. You've done plenty.
All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate your attention to this.
The next speaker will be Laura Cherkas, Chrkas.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen of the council. I'm Laura Turkis. These are my league mates, Tessa Baker and Mary Toledo. And we're here tonight on behalf of the LA Derby Dolls to ask for LA's continued support of our annual free community health fair. Our ninth annual fair is going to be held October 14th this year here in El Sereno. We'd like to invite LA 32 to participate in the fair with a resource booth to provide community information, LA 32 promotional merchandise, anything else you think might be helpful to the community. And we'd like to request that LA 32 provide funding for refreshments for the vendors, as it was done in past years at our fair. Additionally, we'd like to request funding this year for flyers and printed promotional materials to get the word out to the community about the fair.
Can you speak up? We cannot hear you from here.
Did you get that?
Yes, I'm taking notes. Go ahead.
Is this better? Finally, we're hoping to host the fair at our warehouse on Alhambra Avenue this year, but there's a possibility that we may not be able to do so. In that contingency, we'd like to ask the council to consider opening the senior center on a Saturday to allow us to host the fair there in the event that we can't hold it in our own venue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura, and I just want to give you some microphone adjustments to give a little bit more volume over there. I have your public speaker card right here. This will go to the Membership and Outreach Committee because that's probably the committee that will most be closest to help you. You did mention health fair. I don't know if that ties specifically into public safety because it's not a safety issue, but I'm going to give this card so that we know to agendize it. And then the process is that the committee formulates a recommendation. They ask you how much money, the promotional material, the booth you have, and they organize the date with you, and then the committee will formulate a recommendation and bring it back to us. So hopefully in 1 month's time, the committee will have a recommendation for us, and then we could take action. So at this moment, this will go to the chair of the Membership and Outreach Committee, and at this time, it's Michelle Corsantes. I have another public comment card here from Mickey Jackson.
Hello, I'm Nikki Jackson with the Coalition Preserve LA. We've been here a few times, and I understand we have a letter that we've asked folks to look at and to endorse our letter and send it to the city because the city is proceeding with its general plan and its community plans without allowing early public input, not allowing the public in not allowing us to comment. And now they have stopped publishing the times when meetings occur, but they do invite selected people to these meetings. This is a transparency issue. We were promised by the mayor and the city council that it would be a transparent process, and it's not. And so people need a right to come and have a say about what's going on in our communities. So I just wanted to kind of mention that and make sure we're scheduled to be on your planning land use agenda again. The night we were on that agenda, the meeting didn't actually occur. And then the next meeting, somehow we weren't put on the agenda for that one. I'm not sure why. And so I think Jill Stewart came last time to check on that. So we're just checking on being on the agenda this time. And that's all I have to say. I just wanted to check in on that. Who should I contact to make sure we're on the agenda?
I'm looking at my sheet or chart of committees and chairpersons, and recently we've had one board member resignation. You might find that on the agenda tonight. Will be for the vacancy. That happened to be our vice president, Miguel Vargas.
Oh, yeah.
But not only did we lose a vice presidency, we also lost the chair of the land use committee.
Oh.
So we'll be replacing him with someone. And on this time, the land use committee is composed of Tom Williams and Jorge Garcia.
Okay.
But there's two of them.
Yeah.
And 2 out of 3 is still quorum.
Okay.
So even if we don't fill the seat this evening, those 2 committee members can meet to hear your issue.
Okay,
And Tom Williams
I'll
is
check
ready
in
to
with
do that.
Tom. Tom's been a great guy.
Thank you.
Always for a long time, so I'm happy to talk, to be able to communicate with Tom. Thank you all.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you. The other public comment card I have is from Wendy Carrillo. Wendy?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight, and thank you to the Neighborhood Council. I know that the work that you do is all voluntary, and so I appreciate your commitment to our community. I wanted to come and simply introduce myself. My name is Wendy Carrillo. I am running for State Assembly to represent this area, which used to be the seat of Assemblymember Jimmy Gomez, who is now our congressman. The election has been called for October 3rd, which is just around the corner. And a lot of people don't even know that this election is happening. So I wanted to come and just say hello. My website is wendyforassembly.com. You can reach me at wendyforassembly.com. I grew up in this district, just a neighborhood over in City Terrace, where I went to elementary school. I went to El Sereno Middle School, just down the street, and went to Roosevelt High School in Boyle Heights, ELAC, Cal State LA, and received my graduate degree at USC. I've been a working journalist for the past 12 years. I actually worked with Councilmember Jose Huizar, who represents this area between 2007 and 2010, when the year after I joined the labor movement and worked for SEIU ULTCW, which is now part of a larger union, 2015, representing workers across the state. And I'm running because I believe that we need progressive champion leaders in the state legislature. I have the endorsements of the Democratic Legislative Women's Caucus, Assemblywoman Cristina Garcia, Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez Fletcher, Jackie Irwin, State Senator Connie Leyva, and State Senator Nancy Skinner, some of the most progressive leaders across the country. There are currently, across our state, I'm sorry, there are currently 10 candidates that are running, so it is a crowded field. And I wanted to come ask the council as well to consider joining perhaps with another neighborhood council in the district to put on a forum of some sort so that people know that this is actually happening. Oh, great. Okay, thank you. Marcia. And that's really it. Thank you so much for letting me, giving me the time to speak, and thank you for being here tonight. And again, my email is wendy@wendyforassembly.com if you want to get involved.
Thank you very much, Wendy. We have the next public comment speaker card, which is Mark Legassi. Mark.
Good evening. Thanks for letting me get up here. I just wanted to give you there's two things I wanted to talk about. First of all, I brought you a gift from Herman to here. No, actually from a grant from the Earthquake Country Alliance. I brought 50 copies for free. High quality color, personal guide to disaster resilience brochures. They were created by the Northeast LA Disaster Survival Task Force, and they're intended for family use. Couple of good things about it is it's everything you need to know about disasters in only 6 pages. I don't know about you, but I'm overwhelmed with all the information. This sums it all up based on county information and other things. The other thing, it acts as this mini family plan in and of itself. There's space to fill out your out-of-state contacts, your emergency information. There's a disaster school checklist so you can see if your school is prepared to save your child in case of an emergency. One of the most important components is the last part is a terrible perforated, not terrible, but something that you can tear off. It's a sign that you put in your front window in case of a disaster. And it helps responders speed up their disaster recovery. Because if you're okay, they don't have to go knock on your door. And during search and rescue efforts after a huge earthquake, that's what the plan is, to do a door-to-door search. So by putting help, if you really need help, you'll get help faster. So anyway, I'm going to put 50 copies on the back table throughout in the car, because I was a little bit late, for you guys to have. And if you need more copies, let me know. The final thing I wanted to bring up is our task force. This is from NELA Disaster Survival Task Force has uncovered some startling information on the state of several large high-pressure natural gas transmission lines that travel right underneath El Sereno, not far from here, as a matter of fact. What we've uncovered in part is Southern California gas companies' intentional efforts to hide or conceal information from the public on the dangers of these pipelines and what we can do to protect ourselves. So I'd like to ask to be put on the agenda possibly for a 10-minute presentation next month or whenever it's possible to actually show you the pipeline locations, potential dangers, as well as recommendations and tips on what stakeholders can do to minimize dangers to their families in case of a leak or explosion. These are large, high-pressure pipelines that carry gas at a pressure 10 times more than your automobile tire, 400 pounds per square inch, and they're about 30 inches in diameter. They're huge. So that's all I have. I wanted to thank you for your time, and hopefully I can get time on the next month's agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. I have a quick question. You're not seeking for us to take a position on anything, right? Not a vote, not funding, not take action, just a presentation?
Yeah, at the moment, I'm not asking anybody to take a point on it. What we're doing is our task force on behalf of 7 neighborhood councils where these pipelines run under. We filed complaints with the California Public Utilities Commission about these problems that we found, and we're waiting for a response back. But it's still good to get you guys informed of what's going on, and if it comes to be that they kind of don't want to work with us, then maybe we will come back and ask for your support, maybe in the form of a letter. But,
okay, that could be at a different point. The reason why I'm asking is, do I have to send this to a committee for a recommendation or just agendize you so you could speak to the public? I think having awareness of these gas pressure lines under our community is important. So 7 to 10 minutes fair enough for you?
Yes, that's fine. And it's just an awareness campaign right now. It's not a need your help campaign yet.
Correct. It's just a presentation with no action.
Yeah.
Great.
I didn't want to come here with a gift and then ask for something in return, so I just want to give a presentation.
I'm going to call it Danger Gas Pipeline. Gas pipeline
Pipelines
presentation.
gas pipeline
Remove
presentation.
the word danger and just put gas pipeline presentation.
Right, because it's only a danger if you're not aware it's there. Once I tell everybody what's going on, I think you'll see that there's a plan that we can put together to make sure everyone's safe. The reason why I'm interested is I live 50 feet from one of them, so it's important to me. Thank you very much.
Excellent, thank you. I have the last 2 speaker cards here before me, and it's Sylvie Cogsnane and George Cabrera. So Sylvie first. Sylvie.
My mistake, I wanted to talk to about the unit. It's 90 units on Huntington Drive, so
Okay.
I think I will hold my
Yes, when that item
comments
comes up.
for the last section of the meeting.
So that'll be item 19. 19 on the, well, it's
Okay.
written on your agenda as new business 7,
Yeah,
but with the readjustments,
So
it's
I will
9.
hold my comments.
Excellent, that's what I need, thank you. And George Cabrera, we have George Cabrera, stakeholder for 3 minutes.
Good evening, members of the board, Mr. President, members of the audience. I just want to bring up your attention the Community Beacon newspaper. I have a last month's copy. So. Okay. I mentioned the first thing is the Community Beacon copy. We have the issue, we'll be picking it up tomorrow from the printers, and it's going to be a good one, folks. We have a lot of good information on there in reference to all the community activities that are taking place. I just want to mention to you, we do have our local advertisers like Albuquerque, La Plaza del Sol, and we do have also, we have a new advertiser advertising in our paper. You can see these are the called Manners of Health. I have books in the back if you're interested, and also a book on diabetes. You know, that's a very prevalent problem that we have right here, particularly here in El Sereno. And I encourage the members of the audience to take a book and read it. Very valuable information on there. And I just want to, finally, I want to bring up everyone's attention. Yesterday, my colleague, Michael Gorin from MVPchannel.net, he had videotaped the National Night Out. And these are the flyers that I had also distributed, you know, throughout the community. Just wanted to bring up your attention that the video lasts 12 minutes. So far we have 118 hits on that video, and I encourage members of the audience to view the video and also share it with your friends and other friends, so that video will be up to close to 500 hits by this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you very much, George. Thank you very much, George. I did receive another public comment card from Jacqueline Monterrosas. Jacqueline, right now, general public comment?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna fix this. Hello everyone, my name is Jacqueline Monterrosas and I'm with East LA Community Corporation. East LA Community Corporation is a non-profit affordable housing developer that has been operating for over 22 years. We build affordable housing for low-income families, seniors, veterans, and any other special needs populations. We have over 670 units in approximately 15 tax credit project developments. And ELAC not only does affordable housing development, but we also help at least over 500 people with tax preparation. And during the 2008 years, we've helped many families not lose their homes during foreclosure. So we also help families get ready to purchase their homes. So we not only build affordable housing, but there's other services that we provide. In our affordable housing sites, we also provide wraparound services. So not only, we believe that it's not just about providing housing to people, but in order for folks to be housed and remain housed, it's important that they have services, including case management, including services where people can learn English or whatever it is. Services are tailored to the tenant's needs. We have a tutoring service in each of our sites, in most of our sites.
So just wanted to give a little bit of context of ELAC. And I'm also requesting 15 minutes to speak during my, during item, I believe is 19, in which we're going to be presenting the development. Since my minutes are not over, I'm going to talk a little bit about the development. It's Rosa de Castilla. The project is on 4209 Huntington Drive North, South. Oh my God.
One moment, Jacqueline, since that item is actually on the agenda, we have to wait till that item comes up.
Okay.
Non-agenda items. Anything else? Tax preparation, affordable housing, English classes, anything else except what's on the agenda.
Well, we're
Still
also,
have 45 seconds.
yeah, we're also, I'm actually really excited because we're actually working on a new project that is creating a community land trust. We understand that homeownership is crazy, outrageous at this time. People can't afford homes that are over $500,000. So we're trying to create a land trust where people can actually purchase a property. This property is in Boyle Heights currently, but we're trying to get people interested. So, and we actually have a concurrent meeting tonight. I will provide more details for that. I believe that we believe that housing is a human right, and that this is one of the ways of addressing the housing needs. Just on time.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline. Thank you. I received another agenda card from Richard Acosta, but it says reference to the 90 units. Sir, is that one for another item? So that's all for the public comment cards that I have before me. I think there was 8 speakers so far. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to the board regarding non-agenda items, general public comment, just so we don't forget anybody? Nobody else? That will close item number 4. We now move to item number 5, which indicates it's the president's report.
Anthony,
Yes.
before you move on, I wanted to make a request if after this president's report, we speak here items, can you use one? Items 8, 9, and 4 in that order. Well, the old 8, 9, and 4 under new business.
New business.
Yeah. This is in regards to the candidate forum, which Ms. Creo made a mention to earlier. There's going to be a special election, and I'd like the opportunity to speak on it prior to the meeting. Unfortunately, I'm not feeling well, so this is why I'm asking that request in consideration of the public and the board in order to afford me the opportunity to provide a quick update.
Okay, the earliest time we could hear those items would be right before old business. We'd have to get the president's report, board members' announcements, our minutes, and the treasurer's report.
Okay, so I've made the request. If I'm not here,
Okay, thank you, Marcia. On the president's report, it indicates here the permanent committee members and or chairs to standing committees, which include the beautification committee, arts and culture committee, ad hoc voter engagement committee, the land use committee, membership and outreach committee, and it's indicated there on the agenda. What happened is we recently had a resignation from our vice president. His name is Miguel Vargas. He was also the chair of the land use committee, which I just recently made a note on my chart that he's no longer on that committee. And he was also our second signature, which helps handle processing our funds, our checks, our distributions and our payments to local vendors or organizations that we work with. Some of those items are on the agenda and they're written under new business, and it's just the way it's written. But those items are actually not new business in the sense that it's something that we could overlook or something we could bypass or something that's not urgent, meaning we should have a full board. It's mandatory that we have a second signature, and it's proper that we have a vice president. So those items which are on the agenda, and I'm looking at them, which become 13, 14, and 15, will be heard under the president's report after we do the filling of the vacancies. It's basically just a, thank you very much. It's basically just a hearing items as they should be presented to the body, which is us, and to the stakeholders. The second signature is not something that we can sort of do without. So people say, well, it's under new business. Well, we could move it up or handle it during the president's report. Same as filling our vacancies. It's in the best interest of the board to have a full seat. And had I had an opportunity to prepare this agenda or give input and weigh in, that's where these items will be placed. But I wasn't there at that meeting, and those who were on the executive committee who did set this up just happened to set them under new business. So the president's report indicates, I'll go back to item 5, which would be the appointment of committee members and or chairs. The first one is going to be the land use committee, because Miguel Vargas did actually resign. So we have 2 committee members on that at this moment, which is Tom Williams, seated to my left, with the red hat on. And we also have George Garcia, Jorge, who's also a stakeholder. He comes from the public, like you guys, who's on our land use committee. So at this moment, I'm going to ask board members if we have one vacancy for the land use committee. Is there any board members wishing to participate on the land use committee? You could do a self-nomination or nominate another board member. Okay, this time now we'll turn to the stakeholders. Are there any stakeholders? And I'm glad we have over 50 people out here today, which is encouraging and great. Do we have any stakeholders that are interested in running on the land use committee? I see 2 hands, 3 hands. Please just stand up so I can make sure again. Just stand up. It was the gentleman in the white shirt, here in the suit in the back, and the gentleman in back. You're interested on the land use committee. Just say yes or no, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We currently have 1 board member, 1 stakeholder, and it's mandatory that the board member is the chair. Everyone just seen that I asked for board members first to see if they're willing to participate on the committee. We didn't get a response, so I turned to the stakeholders. But I first want to make sure that Tom Williams will be willing to chair the committee, because if I appoint one of you guys, that'll be 1 board member, 2 stakeholders, which is acceptable. But the bylaw says that the chair must be from the board. At this moment, it's Tom Williams, so let me ask him quick. Mr. Williams, Tom, are you interested in being the chair of the land use committee?
Yes.
Okay, that helps me out. So now I can actually come to the stakeholders and ask you guys, which is the process we're doing. So what I'd like you to do is just step up to the microphone. I'll give you guys 1 minute, and what I'll do is from the 3, I will appoint 1, meaning I'll take 1 person, and then what happens is the board here decides whether they accept it, and the terminology in our bylaws is called ratified. We get a board vote to ratify my appointments. So sir, you're standing right here closer to the microphone. Just come up for 1 minute and say hi, introduce yourself, and why you're interested in being on the land use committee.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to hear me out. My name is Jacob Ali. I've lived in this area my entire life. I'm 29 years old. I used to be in the Air Force as a commissioned officer. I was a second lieutenant, and unfortunately, I suffered a horrible motorcycle accident that got me medically disqualified. And I'm now here today, hoping that I continue on with my leadership abilities, and I just hope for the best, really.
Your name once again, sir, for clarification?
Jacob Ali, Jacob Ali, Alpha Lima India.
Okay, thank you very much for being here and considering yourself, or basically self-nominating yourself for the land use committee.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jacob. The second one, any of you 2 gentlemen, please come up and feel free for give yourself 1 minute. Just give yourself an introduction on why you're interested in being on the land use committee.
My name is Richard Acosta, and I think I've been here pretty often to your meetings, and I've been pretty frequent to your land use committee meetings, and so I've been pretty involved as far as what the neighborhood council and what's good for the community, and I've talked to other community members, and that's why I want to be on the land use committee. I think on the next door neighbor group, we're up to 240 people. I communicate with them. I get their input. You know, so that's pretty much it.
Thank you very much, Richard. And sir, come right on up and introduce yourself, sir. Thanks for coming out here today.
Hello, board. Hello, stakeholders. My name is David Chacon. I live in the East District of 90032 off Norwich and Stockbridge. I'm interested actually in the land use committee because I'm a second-year civil engineering student at Cal State LA. So land use kind of, land use development is kind of my thing. Also, I have a general goal of being on the LA Planning Commission. So working with you guys, working also with the stakeholders, I feel it could be a great, valuable experience, not only in this neighborhood, but also in the city and the county, improving both our lives and everyone else's lives. Thank you.
Now now it makes it difficult for me because you have three great candidates. I just have to pick one of them. And I just have a quick question. Jacob Ali, you're a stakeholder in which region? Do you know? Because the other guy said east, and I know Rich is from the north.
I believe I'm west region.
Oh.
Like by Wilson and Brea.
Oh, no. That's out of the neighborhood council. So how are you a stakeholder from our community?
I believe like I live in the area because I got an email from you guys stating like just be more active with it.
Correct, but is it local to 90032?
No, it wouldn't.
Okay, do you...
I live like a 90036.
Okay, how about what other activities do you have in our community? Like, I mean, are you involved with the local churches, schools, do you have family?
Our Air Society, which basically helps out the community. We do a lot of fundraisers to help contribute back to the community. We basically we volunteer our services by helping clean up a certain area, like maybe like clean up beaches, or maybe we'll like go to the fly over to St. Louis and help out region about flood.
Okay, one last question. Please give me an idea how you could connect yourself to 90032.
I believe that I have great communication skills and my leadership ability that like has definitely shown himself within the Air Force because I won numerous awards that distinguished me as the #1 leader within America. That was awarded to me by the president at that time, young Barack Obama, at LA Air Force Base, and awarded by General Hamill, like sent up every government satellite into space. So I believe like I have the ability to like distinguish myself as a great leader within the neighborhood council.
Sir, I recognize that, and I could tell how articulate you are. What I'm trying to do as the president is just find a connection to the community here specifically, which we call a stakeholder. And so far, I can't see that. I do recognize your efforts in the community and your background, I guess, in the military. And hearing you mention that you received an award from Barack Obama is distinguishable. But when I select, I have to pick someone from our community. That's sort of the way the structure works.
Then unfortunately, I would vote myself out because I'm not within the community. Okay. So like just to make your job a little bit easier, like I would resign.
Not resign, you just withdraw.
Withdraw my.
I really like what you're doing. Maybe what you could do is continue coming back. Give us some of your intellectual property. Participate with us. And then when you're here consecutively after 3 regular months, even if you live by the beach, you're here at our meetings, that means you're a stakeholder here. Okay. But since this is your first time here, I can't tie that in that you're here regularly. After 3 meetings, I pretty much assume that you're coming back. So thank you for your nomination, and whatever you're doing, I can tell it's of high caliber, so thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr.
Board members, out of the 3 candidates, and I did hear from Jacob, Richard, and David, my appointment will be to have David Chacon represent on the Land Use Committee. He lives in the East Region. So David, just please stand up so you can remember who you are. David Chacon. What I need to do at this time is ask the board, which is us that are sitting here, to vote in your favor, basically, to see if they accept my appointment. So at this time, David Chacon will be not appointed specifically, but he is my referral or recommendation to be appointed to the Land Use Committee, and we'll ask for a board ratification from the board members that are here at this time. All in favor of appointing David Chacon to the Land Use Committee, please raise your hand. All we need is raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of us present. David 9 is the majority of the 13 board members that are here. So you are appointed now as the Land Use Committee Chair. What I do is I'm going to put your name down here, not Chair, excuse me, Land Use Committee. Tom Williams is our Chair. So work closely with him. He will give you probably his business card or contact information. He will call the meetings to order. He'll pick a date, time, and location. He'll inform you, and then you and the other stakeholder will just come and hear our land use issues when they arise.
Thank you.
So let me see, let me cross out here, land use, where did I start, land use? And I'm really encouraged to see this many people out here. We've had this type of presence back in, I think, in April and May, and then we got down to about 15 stakeholders in June and July. But serving you guys is the way we do this, and helping you guys participate in our committee levels is also welcoming. The next one on here is Beautification Committee. Let me see, that one is here, Beautification. We have 1, 2, Savannah, Sani Abdul-Jabbar, and Kathy Leah. I think we might have filled that one last time. Is there any need to change the Beautification Committee? Sani, are you still interested in remaining the chair for the Beautification Committee?
You can keep it as it is.
As it is, okay, so let me strike that one. Arts and Culture Committee is on this agenda. Arts and Culture we have here, we have the chair, Michelle Corsantes, Karina Cruz, and Jackie Carrillo. The reason why that one is on our agenda is most of these committees, nearly all of them, were appointed at the beginning of our term. At the beginning of the term, we had a different president, and I pretty much retained those committee members that were previously appointed to committees. But we have new board members coming up. We have new seats that have been filled, and I don't see, well, we do have Aaron, who's new, Stephanie, who's new, and there's one vacancy that we'll be filling in just a moment. So I'm trying to get the new board members to participate. So at this moment, for the Arts and Culture Committee, we have Michelle, Karina, and Jackie. I'd like to have a stakeholder on this committee. And our biggest function or biggest event that we have with the Arts and Culture is the Kite Festival. I don't know if any of you have heard it, but we've hosted it for 7 years consecutively, and we hosted it at Ascot Hills Park. So what I'm going to do is remove the chair, Michelle Corsantes, from the Arts and Culture Committee, and have a stakeholder participate on it, which is someone from this large crowd out here today who's interested in arts and culture. And let me ask Jackie or Karina if they're willing to be the chair of the committee. Karina on my left, are you willing to be the chair of the committee?
No.
Arts and Culture. Jacqueline, would you be willing to be the chair of the committee?
No, thank you.
No? Okay. What that does is it now gives me an opportunity, basically I have to find someone who would be interested in being a chair, but now I have to possibly remove one of the ladies that just said that they don't want to be the chair. They're still on the committee, but they don't want to take on the responsibilities. So I'm going to ask them one more time, and if not, then I'll be removing a second member from the committee, and perhaps go back to the stakeholders or find another board member who's willing to be on these committees. So think about it, directors. Think about it. It's the Arts and Culture Committee. And again, I'm going to ask Jackie and Karina, would you please reconsider being the chair for the Arts and Culture Committee? Karina? No. And Jackie? Okay. Real quick question, without giving names or anything, is there anyone in the stakeholders out in the public wishing to be on the Arts and Culture Committee just by show of hands? 2 hands, 5 hands, 1 hand? 1, you in the pink man? Okay, just 1. Okay.
You're in.
No. What, I understand that, but what it is I still have to have a chair to take on the responsibilities of posting the agenda, setting a date, time, and location, chairing the meeting, facilitating the meeting, and making sure that the committee functions properly. And you've seen that neither of the committee members wish to take on that responsibility. Are there any board members that are interested in being the Arts and Culture Committee chair? So just keep that in mind. It is a standing committee, and I'd like to ask before I remove anyone else. Board members, if you're interested in being on the Arts and Culture Committee, please raise your hand. None. Okay, what I would have to do is give an opportunity to speak to them, and potentially, one of the stakeholders, whoever fills that vacancy, who will become a board member soon, because we'll be doing that tonight, maybe they'll be interested in being the chair of the Arts and Culture Committee. So at this moment, I'm gonna leave it with the two members. What I did is I removed Michelle Corsantes, and specifically, the reason is Michelle, she's done a lot of work, she's done a fine job being our treasurer, but she's on 6 committees. And what I'm trying to do is have more people participate. I know Stephanie's new here beside me. Aaron is new, he was here about 2 months back, but he's already on a committee, and I'm just trying to get more people involved so that we're all participating on equal levels, not just one person doing all the work or putting all the burden on a certain individual, and it just makes our functioning a little bit easier. So at this moment, it will retain the chair it will retain the committee with Jackie Carrillo, Karina Cruz, and there's still one open seat. So between the two ladies, think about it, and the next month coming up, we'll have to appoint a chair or make the decision and remove someone so that someone does take the responsibility of the chair. Then I could go back and ask the stakeholders. It doesn't help me to fill that stakeholder seat right now, which is, well, and it's logically it makes sense. But I don't want to discourage you if no one's going to call the meeting. No one wants to take the responsibility. No one wants to go put a posting up at the library. No one wants to sit and take the seat of time to have a meeting, call the water, and follow the steps. So I don't want to sort of bring you in when there's no one taking the leadership role. And I don't know your name, I've never met you, ma'am, but I'm just trying to do things as fair as possible. Yes, Michelle, okay.
I like my stakeholders and board members to know that I am not resigning from this chair. I was the Arts and Culture Chair. I'm not resigning. I'm not in 6 committees. I'm not in 6 committees. That is wrong information. It's actually 4 committees, not 6. And I've never had a problem chairing, and I am a multitasker. And I have done successful events with my committee and my stakeholders on moving on. I've never complained or whined or said that this is too much for me. So just want to let you guys know that I've been doing a good job and I'm not resigning from this committee, and I can handle it. This is just something that he's personally has made a decision. So I just wanted my colleagues to know that you guys are probably wondering what's going on. I didn't make this decision. It's not that I can't do it. You guys know I could do this and I would still do it.
Yes, that's true. She's doing a fine job. But what it is, and it's actually 6 committees, I'll name them. Arts and Culture, Budget and Finance, Bylaws, Executive Committee, Outreach, and Ad Hoc Inventory Committee. So if you count them, and not just the chair, I'm just saying a committee. Ad Hoc and Inventory, Outreach, Executive Committee, Bylaws, Budget and Finance, and oops, I don't have enough fingers. Arts and Culture, which is 6 committees. So I'm not saying she's the chair of each of them, she's just on 6 committees, which is true. She might count it as 4, I don't know how she counted, but I just named them all. And she's on it, she's on my list. So the committee will remain as Jackie Carrillo and Karina Cruz.
Anthony, I'd like to speak.
Go ahead, Marcia.
While I understand that we want to give everybody opportunities to participate, including chairing, it's difficult when we're leading committees without a chair and absent. So I would encourage you to reconsider these future decisions that impact the board negatively and the community without an active community for no reason.
Well, it's going to come up again right now because the next one is the Ad Hoc Board Engagement Committee, and then we have Membership and Outreach. So the next one on the list is Arts and Culture. We just did that one. The next one is Ad Hoc Board. Yes, Mr. Pacheco.
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation when you have to do something that might seem negative. But I think that there's also the awareness of the fact that when you have the treasurer, the person who's in charge of the money and the way that it's handled, and being able to chair 4 committees, and in some cases, I've even been, and I'll be very honest with you, I've had difficulty in the past trying to get public safety to be treated equally as some of the committees that this particular person handles. And so one of the ways to be able to try to do that And it's a very difficult thing politically to do, and that is to reassign the chairs so that, and again, it's all whether or not you believe how government should be run. Now, when the bylaws, and I used to be the bylaws chair, when the bylaws of this particular neighborhood council were put together, they were very dictatorial, very pro the president having all kinds of power. Over the years, we've tried to limit that kind of power. Okay, and not only that, it's not just the president, it's also the executive board. An executive board of an organization should be there to treat each and every stakeholder and each and every committee equally. And that is not what has resulted. And so the president at this point has a difficulty in trying to find out how to do that fairly. And I know it's very difficult to explain it, but it's absolutely important that this kind of power be redistributed. Okay, that's what he's attempting to do. I am hoping that I'm kind of explaining it to you. Okay, it has to be some kind of fairness and equalness. Unfortunately, the majority of the committee members here, of the people in the neighborhood council, were kind of overworked already, because when we created the bylaws, if you don't mind, we also created a lot of committees, but then the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment reduced the number of people that could be sitting on this board. So now we have not enough people on the board, even though the bylaws say we should have 21. That's what the bylaws say. We don't, to be able to handle all the committees and to handle them fairly. Thank you.
Thank you, Hugo, for assisting in explaining that. And it's nothing against the treasurer, as she spoke up. She has been doing an excellent job in her service. Most definitely is our finances. And I think it's important that she focus on our finances, keep doing a fine job, and she's still on 5 other committees: Budget and Finance, Bylaws, Executive Committee, Outreach Committee, and Ad Hoc Inventory Committee. So it's not like I'm just doing it out of being malice. But what Hugo was mentioning is I'm just trying to distribute our workload fairly. And we have other board members that are barely on one, some can do a little bit more. And that's what I'm trying to do, is ask our board members, and if they can't, then I come back to the stakeholders. But I only can go to the stakeholders if we have a chair for the committee. The bylaws do not allow me to select a stakeholder to be the chair. It's just the way it's set up. So at this time, the arts and culture will remain with 2 people. Then, yes, Michelle?
I don't chair bylaws.
No.
I don't chair ad hoc inventory. That's just one task. So it's just
Correct.
for one task when we did inventory. So they don't meet on a regular basis. I don't chair executive committee.
Correct.
So those are 3 that I don't chair. So I don't have to worry, like you say, overwhelm and do all the work, because that's the job of those chairs.
Right, I'm not
No, I know, but I'm just saying, because you're saying you can count fingers of how many, but I'm just trying to clarify so we know that
Yeah,
we're on the same board,
yes.
that I don't chair those 3.
Correct.
Okay, it was only 3, which was, once again, Budget and Finance, because the bylaw states that the treasurer has to do it.
Correct.
Membership and Outreach, and Arts and Culture.
Correct.
3, not 6.
Well, I think what you're getting confused is I'm not saying you're the chair of all of them. You're just on 6 committees, period. Whether you're a chair or committee member. So sorry for the misunderstanding, but it was a total of 6. Now you're still on 5, and you've been the chair of, was 4, but now 3, ad hoc inventory, outreach, and budget and finance. But yes, thanks for the clarification. I just trying to get more board members to participate is what I'm trying to do. And excuse me, I don't take hands. Sorry about that. I see your hand up there, but I just want to let you know. I don't take hands.
Well, I just have an email again that this is a meeting of the 90 units
Yes.
on Huntington.
Correct, that's coming up in the meeting, on the
I
agenda.
think most of the people who are here are about that. So I don't know why we are sitting for something that should be done in closed door. We are not voting, we are not doing anything about it.
Excuse me? We can't have this interaction like this with the stakeholders and public. That's why we offer public comment cards. And when that item does come up, I'll be sure to ask you to speak.
But then you should not call it a 90 units meeting.
It's a full
You should
meeting
not
of
call it
everything on the
that,
agenda. And these,
because it's at the last of the agenda.
And I'm
So
just
there
don't-
is a misunderstanding about what you're calling the meeting.
Okay, and we don't do anything behind closed doors, everything's done in public. So we'll be appointing our committee members here in public. The following one is the Ad hoc Voter Engagement Committee. That one is comprised of Miguel Vargas, who resigned, so let me scratch him out. We also have Cynthia Sandoval. And Sani Abdul-Jabbar and Marcia Guzman. So those are the three that were on the Voter Engagement Committee.
Anthony?
Yes, Marcia?
When we were talking about the ad hoc voter, I had asked you if Cynthia was an active member, and at the time you told me she was not.
Correct, she's not. What I do, and I was looking at the wrong list, I was looking at ad hoc media. There's only 3 people on the ad hoc voter engagement. It's Miguel Vargas, Sani Abdul-Jabbar, Marcia Guzman.
Okay, I just wanted to...
Can I input on that real quick? The reason why I was involved was because I had offered him.
Just for the record, the reason I was involved because I had offered Miguel some help when he was back and forth with his job, and I told him I would create the flyer that was going to be put out for the candidates, and I communicated with each and every one of the 28 candidates so that they were here that day. That was my position. I just volunteered, so I wasn't actually put on the committee. So, I mean, if you're going to need somebody and the next, I would consider myself, but we'll see how that works.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I didn't overlook you in having a meeting. That's why I just wanted to make sure. I'd also like to speak on this item just to inform them of the upcoming election. So I'm going to take this quick opportunity. As you know, Jimmy Gomez, our prior state assembly person, has left to go to Congress. We're very proud of him and very thankful that he's out there fighting the good fight. However, that does mean now that we have an assembly seat that is open. There are approximately 9 candidates running. The first election, the primary is going to be on 10/5, 10/3, and then the general is going to be on 12/5. So those are the dates. I ask you to please make sure you put those on your calendar. We want to host a forum, so that's what the main duties of this ad hoc committee would be comprised of, would be creating a forum for the candidates to come and speak and for the community to come and be able to hear them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marcia. The reason why this one is on the list is because Miguel did resign. He was our vice president, chair of the land use committee, and he was also the chair of this committee, which is the ad hoc voter engagement committee. At this moment, we have Marcia Guzman and Sani Abdul-Jabbar on that committee. Is that still correct? It's just an ad hoc committee.
Okay, so to be clear, Sonny never explicitly said the word resign, which is why I had asked you afterwards to check in with him. However, he had stated he didn't want to work this event, so that to me is resigned. This is the point of the forum. So if Sonny wants to do the event, I would love to have him on board. He is my community member from Business and Econ, but I need a solid commitment that you are going to commit to give the time to do this forum and to be there present at the day that we decide. So if you're willing to engage, I would love for this process to move forward.
When I'm available, I'll get there. So when I said I couldn't attend that, actually this is not a good forum for this conversation. So we can have a
Okay,
conversation.
so far on my chart, I do have Sani Abdul-Jabbar, Marcia Guzman, ad hoc voter engagement committee. The committees are usually composed of 3 people, so I'm going to ask, since this is an ad hoc committee, which just deals with elections and it's a temporary committee, not a standing committee, is there any board members interested in filling the vacancy on the ad hoc voter engagement committee? Yes, Cynthia, go ahead.
I just made that clear just a few minutes ago that I would be willing to sit on that committee. I'll self-nominate myself.
Okay. Is there anyone else willing to self-nominate themselves for the voter and ad hoc engagement committee? From the board,
Okay, I need to resign from this committee.
You do?
For personal reasons, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we do have Cynthia though, that just willing to take on this position.
I'd like to nominate Jackie.
Okay, Jackie, do you accept?
Yes.
Yes, thank you for that, Marcia. So at this moment, we have one resignation, so I'm just going to scratch this one on like this. Thank you very much, Sani, for informing me about that. And we have 2 board members that are willing to take on the task relating to upcoming elections and dealing with voter engagement. So that'll be Jackie Carrillo and Cynthia Sandoval. Do each of you accept being on the committee?
Yes.
Okay, so my appointments will be Jackie Carrillo and Cynthia Sandoval. to be on the Voter Engagement Ad Hoc Committee, and then we will need a board ratification. What we'll do is take one at a time, just so we could fill out the proper paperwork. One for Cynthia Sandoval, and one of the board nomination, the board votes for Jackie Carrillo. So at this time, all in favor of placing Cynthia Sandoval, which is here to my left, she's our corresponding secretary for the ad hoc voter engagement committee. Please raise your hand for Cynthia Sandoval to be ratified on the committee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, that's a total of 12 votes. Out of 13, that is majority. Cynthia, you're now appointed to that committee, and same thing goes for Jackie Carrillo. All in favor of appointing Jackie Carrillo to be the committee member, Ad Hoc Voter Engagement Committee, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12 again.
Miguel was the chair.
Yes, Miguel was the chair of the Ad Hoc Voter Engagement Committee. So now that we have a full committee between you and Cynthia and Jackie, I will just take one of you three to
I'd
take
like
which
to defer to Cynthia just because she was involved since earlier on in the
I'm still
process
taking notes.
with the last form, but
I'd like to respond to that. I'm really not chairing anything at this time because I don't have that opportunity for time. And I would hope that Jackie would consider being the chair, and I'd be more than happy to work with her under supervision with Marcia as well. So at this time, I would have to respectfully decline for the chair position.
Okay. Jackie, they're asking you if you'd be willing or interested to be the chair of the Ad Hoc Voter Engagement Committee?
because no one else will do it, I'll do it.
Excellent.
No, Jackie, if you don't want to, I'll be chair. I think it would, there's some other reasons that I would like, my health is required, so that's the reason why I deferred. If you really don't feel it doing it.
Yeah, I just have an extra work this year at work, so I'm just like.
We'll work together with you,
Yeah.
it's just you would have to create the agenda and then
I'm just mainly worried, just my health is required from day to day. I can't predict that on a certain day I'm gonna feel well, and so, that's the only reason. It's a short-term thing, so that would, we can always change it at the next meeting.
So Jackie, that's fine with you? I'll indicate that you're the chair?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jackie, for taking on that extra responsibility.
Thank you, Jackie, we'll be working on it.
So at this time, we're going to conclude or close item 5, which is the President's Report as written. But now what we're going to do is move to other things which quote-unquote fall under the President's Report. They are on the agenda. The responsibility of the President is to make sure that these are maintained, which is filling a vacancy, getting a Vice President, and getting a second signature so we can fund our funding matters and process them accordingly. Because without a second signature, our treasurer is really tied with processing some of our documents to the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. It is on your agenda, so I want people to flip to it, which looks like under new business 1, which is now 13. We're not really moving items out of order, they just weren't placed on the agenda in the right location. So filling the vacancies does fall under the President's report because it's basically it's proper, and that we're supposed to be doing this so that we're all have a full board up here. So we have one vacancy. The vacancy was by Miguel Vargas. He resided in the West region. And the way the process works is, I have, my sheet right here. This is the voter tabulation from the most recent voters that happened in May of 2016. I need to pronounce this right and look for it. The West region, let me see, at large, east, north, south region, west. Correct. We have the West region directors. Those running as a candidate was Kathy Leal, Bella Flores, Miguel Vargas, Anita Basharat, and Hugo Pacheco. And we've already named all those, so the West region will come from there. On the date of elections, Anita received 23 votes. Is Anita in the room? Oh, you're Anita. Sorry, I should have asked for your name earlier. Yeah. Okay, well, welcome. The way the process works is you already received votes because this is the official tabulation from the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. Actually, you did run as a candidate, so please stand up and just let the people see you. I've never met you before. The way the process works, and I believe it's even outlined in the bylaws, is we take from the same region. If you see it under there, it says discussion and possible action to fill the vacancy of the West region per the bylaws filling vacancies. Number 1 says the same region, and I'm verifying that because it is on the canvas of votes that we have here before me. And at this moment, that will be, we would have exhausted all candidates in the West region. We've already accepted Kathy Leal, we've accepted Perla Flores, Miguel Vargas we've accepted, has resigned, and we've also accepted Hugo Pacheco. So the only one remaining is you, Anita. You don't need to give a presentation or anything like that because you're already on here. The only thing we need to do now is ask if the board is willing to accept you and just basically ratify your position, which is at the very bottom, number 4, board approval, if you see it on your agenda. Right, so are you still interested in filling the West Region vacancy?
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. And am I pronouncing your name correctly? Basharat.
Anita Beshart.
Beshart. Okay. And is it B-E-S-H-A-R-A-T, or is that the second A silent?
The second A is silent.
Beshart. I just want to pronounce it correctly. Well, board members, we have Anita in the room this evening. She did receive 23 votes at the time of election. I just need to see a show of hands that we will be seating the West Region filling vacancy with Anita Beshart. And all in favor, which is the board approval, for accepting her to sit in the West Region at this time. All in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You also get an additional 11 board votes from us, so now you could come sit on our side of the table. Anita, good evening. Right, I didn't know it was going to turn out like that. So good evening. I've never seen you before. So welcome to the table or a seat. Okay. So that's how we get back to my agenda. There's the bylaws. Okay, so that would close. It's still under president's report, but everyone can close item new business 13 or previously referenced as 1. Flip it over to previously referenced 2 under new business, which is now filling for the vice presidency. The reason why this is important is because we have an executive committee. There's 5 of us, and these officers are myself, the president, the vice president. We have our treasurer to my right, and 2 secretaries, which is to my right taking minutes, and to my left, which is our corresponding secretary. So those 5 seats, it's almost mandatory that they're filled at all times to assist with quorum. It assists us with conducting business, and it assists me in, if I'm not available, the vice president will take that position. So is there any nominations from the board now that we're here? And I sort of want to mention that there's a slight correction, but if this is the way it's approved by the board of department member department, this is the way we'll accept it. All board members are acceptable to be the vice president. So every single one of you that are here this evening, including you, good evening, and all those here to my right, you can either self-nominate or nominate someone else to be the vice president. So this time I'll wait to see if there's any nominations. Anyone? I'm just looking for any.
I'd like to nominate Hugo Pacheco.
I second that.
Marcia makes a nomination for Hugo Pacheco. Sir, are you willing to accept it?
Accept the condition?
The condition is that you accept it.
Somebody else wishes that I would I want to be fair.
Okay.
There's nobody else.
I was just going to ask if there's any further because we should have always more than one. So thank you, and I'll continue to ask. He's not saying no or declining, but we'll just see if there's any further. Any further board member nominations? Any nominations? Jackie's nominating Anita, who just sat down this evening. We have to ask, are you willing to accept the position for vice president? Yes. And I should probably announce that too, since Anita's new and just so the board members know. I'm going to read out of the bylaws. It indicates that the vice president shall preside and perform the duties in the absence of the president assist in the preparation of the agenda and invite guest speakers, moderate all forms of social media, including the webpage, the Facebook, the Yahoo group, and whatever other media we have, or perform the duties assigned by the president. So those are the 4 requirements for vice president.
Did I make a nomination?
Go ahead. Yes, of course you can.
I'm not our new board member here, but you know, over the year, the one that's really helped me a lot has been Jackie. And in my opinion, she's probably the most open and fair person so far that I know of the new people. And I think it's important that we have somebody like Jackie. If I wouldn't mind, I'd like to nominate her to be vice president.
Thank you very much, Hugo. Jackie, do you accept something like that? Hugo's nominating you to be our vice president? So far we have 3 potential candidates, which is Hugo Pacheco, Jackie Carrillo, and Anita Bouchard. Okay, because I just so the stakeholders know, I've been doing this for so many years, I don't even need to read the bylaws, or I pretty much have it all memorized. The way it turns out when we elect our officers is everybody in the room votes. Everybody in the room. This is not a ratification, and I don't appoint officers. So what we do is we take a tabulation from us, then I go to you guys, because you guys are our voting stakeholders, and everyone in the room gets to indicate who is our vice president. So we could have 1 candidate, we could have 3 candidates, and the one that ends up with the highest vote of the public, or us in general, including the full board, is the one who takes the officer's seat of vice president. So that's the way the process is assigned. So Hugo, you still wish to withdraw from the vice president, or you want to retain on there because you don't know how the vote's going to turn out? No. Okay, so far we only have 2 potential candidates, which will be Jackie Carrillo and Anita Bouchard. Do we have any other board members wishing to nominate or self-nominate?
I just want to confer with Hugo that Jackie has been amazing to, I think, most of us on the board. Would be very excited to see her continue to grow in operation.
Okay, any other nominations? Okay, there's 2 candidates to run for the vice president seat. What I want to ask is each of them to speak on a minute. They are official board members at this moment, and just maybe encourage you to vote for them. We know what they do, but it's this opportunity to speak to you guys, and we'll see which of the 2 becomes our vice president. So I'll start to my left, right here, with Anita, and I ask her to introduce herself and see what her vision is, her capabilities on being the vice president, and you guys will be listening and ultimately be voting in about the next 3 to 4 minutes. So go ahead, Anita.
Thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you. This is such an honor. I didn't even realize that it would be this quick of a process. I am a homeowner in El Sereno and on Gray Drive. I'm very excited to be there. I have wonderful neighbors here supporting me today. When I first moved to the area, I went to the first board meeting here, and Jackie was actually the one that told me I should run when I first got here. So I actually get to thank her for getting really involved outside of the kind of more national and state level elections. It sounds like I'm very excited to see you here because you weren't on the board when I first went to that meeting. I am very grateful to be here, and I think Jackie would be a great asset to the position, and I appreciate everything. So I'm just going to leave it at that for right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anita. Jackie, do you have some words for us?
So I'm a little nervous because I've never held a vice president position in school or anything. I tell everybody I like to be the Indian, not the chief, because I like to just do the work behind the scenes and make sure things get taken care of. And I don't know anything about the bylaws, and so, but I'm willing to do the work as long as Hugo helps me out with the bylaws and keeps things straight, because I always look to him. So it's my pleasure to take on this role and responsibility. I just would ask for the directors just to help me out in doing this, and and I'm very honored.
Thank you very much, Jackie. So the way it turns out is I'm going to first ask our board to take a position or take a vote, and I'm going to just go down one by one, and you just either say Anita or Jackie, and I'll take a tabulation. And then what we're going to do is we're going to be a little bit more complicated, not complicated that you can't do it in your head, it's just the amount of people, the volume that is in attendance this evening. So we're going to have to structure it just so that we make sure we count everybody, and that everybody's voice or vote is heard, and that you each identify if you either want Anita or Jackie, which are the two potential candidates for vice president. At the end, we just sum up the total tabulations, and then we'll announce the vice president, and they'll be effective immediately. So I'll start to my right, and I'm going to just try to count. By a show of hands, we'll start with Anita for the board. All board members, okay? So just one vote, Anita or Jackie. It's only one vote. Anita or Jackie, and I just want a show of hands, and I'm going to help count it, and then if you don't raise your hand, well then, there's no extension. What it is you will automatically be counted as the other candidate. So if we announce Anita and you don't put your hand up, then you'll be counted for Jackie. So at this moment, it'll be for vice president, just on my side only, the board. All those in favor of nominating or appointing Anita Bouchard for our vice president, raise your hand. Okay, none on the board. So that means there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can raise your hand for yourself. Okay, so 9, 13. Okay, so I'm going to start with Jackie, 13 here. So far, Jackie has 13 votes. Anita has 1 herself. And then now we're going to go to the stakeholders. What I'm going to do is sort of stand over there at this podium and then ask you guys to do the same thing that we just did, but each of you stand up, and when that candidate name is called, I'll memorize them, there's only 2, then you just please stand up, make the line right over here by the side of the map or the camera, and then just walk in front of me so I can count each of you as you pass me, and then when I announce the second name, we'll do the same thing. You all rise, and then you come to the left, your left, come before me, and I'll count each of you, and then we'll take the tabulation at that time. So at this moment, I'll be taking the count of the stakeholders. Okay, so the stakeholders that are here, all in favor of having Anita Bouchard as your vice president, please stand up and make a line right over here. Anita Bouchard as the vice president, just come over here so we can be sure we count everybody. Start on this side. Okay? Everyone who wants to vote, just please make one line and we'll count that way. Anita Bouchard, you just heard her introduce herself for the vice president position. All those ready to vote and willing to vote? Okay, start walking this way. I'm going to start counting one at a time. Okay, so it makes it really easy. 1, 2, 3.5. Are you guys over 18? 3.5. 4, 5, 6. Is that it? Recording secretary? 6 votes for Anita Bouchard, okay? And now for Jackie Carrillo. All those in favor of voting for Jackie Carrillo, vice president, please form a line over here. Jackie Carrillo, all those willing to vote? This would be for the vice president, Jackie Carrillo. Stakeholders participating? And now, come on, sir, we'll start counting, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 votes. 19, please record for 19 votes for Jackie Carrillo. Okay, the final tabulation for the vice president seat is Anita Bashart, 7 votes, 6 from the stakeholders, 1 from the board. Jackie Carrillo, a total of 32 votes, 13 from the board, 19 from the stakeholders, which is 32. That indicates that Jackie Carrillo is our vice president with a total of 13 votes accumulated. 32 votes total, 13 and 19. So Jackie, you are our vice president at this time. Okay, so that will close now item 14, previously referred to as item 2. And then the last item, only because it deals with running neighborhood council business, will be a second signature. When Miguel Vargas resigned, he was our second signature. And I'd like to defer to my to the treasurer at this moment, just so she could help explain the importance, the need, and perhaps responsibilities of what the second signature would be entitled to, and basically they'll be following in conjunction with Michelle Corsantes, our treasurer. So Michelle, can you just advise the board members maybe how they could assist you, or what's the need and importance of having a second signature, just so we make sure we have proper funding through the department?
The second set of eyes.
Very good, makes it very simple, okay? So just a second set of eyes on all our funding items. So from the board, do we have any nominations for a second signature? Any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Cynthia Sandoval.
Cynthia, do you accept something like that to be our second signature? Cynthia says yes. Do we have any other nominations? Are there any self-nominations? It seems that Cynthia is the only nomination or nominee for a second signature. Sure, Cynthia, you can speak, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, just for the record, my name is Cynthia Sandoval. I've been on the board for several terms now, and I have gone to all of the financial funding department at Dunn. We have our trainings there. So I do have all of those hours that have been committed for the last 6 months, I believe, that I was there last. Maybe in, I was there with Michelle, the last funding orientation that we had there for the new funding program. So I'm pretty well versed on everything that's been happening, and I'm sure that I probably have to go and probably participate in another one that's coming up this month that we already received an email about. So I'll be able to attend that meeting as well. Thank you.
Do we have any other nominations for second signature? Seeing none, we'll take a board vote now for Cynthia Sandoval, who is our sole nominee for a second signature. And basically, like the treasurer mentioned, it's just a second set of eyes. So Cynthia, all in favor of nominating her for a second signature, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 gets, Cynthia gets 11 votes. That's already a majority of those seated here. So we will report it and record it that Cynthia Sandoval is our second signature as of this time. Thank you very much, Cynthia. Thank you. That will close the President's report, which were included items 13, 14, and 15. We'll now go back to the front, which is item 5, I believe I'm on. President's report, yes. I've concluded the President's report. I feel comfortable that we've established our committees, we've established a full board, we have a vice president this evening, and we also have our second signatures. So basically my responsibilities are done to make sure that we're doing the best we can to serve you guys. Item 5 is closed. We now move to item 6. Do we have board member announcements? Any announcements from the board? Yes, Tom, go ahead.
For this evening, can we get the item now, number 18 and 19 together? And there is an applicant for 18 and 19. This is regarding the homeless housing project. They're related? No, just that there is an applicant available for presentation, short presentation, for those two items. That's all.
Tom, I have a question. It says stakeholder initiative, was that submitted, is that what this other thing is at the back? Oh, I see it. Okay, was that submitted to the executive committee?
Yeah,
It was?
the land use committee resolution and the initiative, they're on the same subject, so we should be able to consider them at the same time.
Yeah, what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to figure out why they're two separate items. One was the land use committee recommendation, one's the stakeholder initiative petition. Who submitted that or how did it get on the agenda?
They walked in.
They walked it in, okay, that was not, they were there, they brought it.
Would you like to see it? I have the.
No, it's not, it's attached
No,
to it.
I know it's attached there, but I
Okay.
have it.
I believe, let me see the language on it.
We have the applicant in the audience, and she would like to give a short presentation regarding the two items.
The presentation can come under the initiative, which is item 18. The land use committee recommendation, which is on number 19. Presentations have already been made. And they are two separate items. One is a recommendation from the land use committee to the neighborhood council board to oppose a proposed residential project. The other one is requesting an environmental impact report. So they will be heard as two different items. Stakeholders, what Tom is trying to do is combine items 18 and 19, but they were formulated in two different capacities. One is a stakeholder initiative, which is 50 words or less, 50 signatures and higher to put anything that you guys want on the board. That was submitted, but it's requesting for an environmental impact report. The committee formulated a recommendation through the hearing process with public comment, presentations accepted, and they formulated a recommendation. So they will be heard independently. 18 and 19, Tom, independently. Okay, just because they're two different things. One's asking for an environmental impact report from the public, the committee had a recommendation. Okay, so we're still on item 6. Any further announcements? Cynthia Sandoval, go ahead.
Yes, hi, again, I'm the corresponding secretary, and I do want to say that on one of our items later on in the agenda, we're asking for more paper and other operational things that I need so that I can make copies. So for those of you that did not get an agenda, you can go to our LA 32 website. I believe that there's an agenda posted there. You don't have anything physically to look at. I'm sorry, I just didn't expect such a large turnout. So everything that you guys have in front of you, if you did get an agenda, again, I don't have enough paper, so that's one of the items that we're going to be voting on later. Thank you for your understanding.
Any further announcements? Board member announcements. I just have actually two announcements. One is there's flyers in the back. They look similar to this, and it's called Independent Shakespeare Company, a little bit different than what Paul Mackley came and spoke about. These are free events held at Griffith Park. You can pick them up in the back table. It's just free information. They give theater at the park, and it's called Independent Shakespeare Company 2017 Griffith Park Free Shakespeare Festival, and it's going to be 5 days a week, starting on Wednesdays through Sunday. And the event that's going on is called the Gentlemen to Gentlemen of Verona. The Two Gentlemen of Verona. The Two Gentlemen of Verona, free plays at Griffith Park. It's just an announcement. Feel free to pick up your flyer in the back. The second announcement I have is this upcoming Friday. There's going to be, it's not an overnight camping trip, but sometime back I requested to have an overnight camping exercise at Ascot Park. It's not overnight, but this Friday between 6:30 and 7:30, there'll be a campfire exhibition with the National Park Rangers, the National Park Services. They're coming out, so feel free to go to Ascot Park this Friday, 6:30. To have storytelling and a campfire at the park, but it is specifically brought to you by the National Park Services. So hopefully this neighborhood council can take the lead with something like this. I did suggest something like this about a year ago, and our neighborhood council sports and recreation committee could probably host something similar to this and have camping overnight at our local parks. So one event Friday, and then pick up this little flyer in the back if you're available. So that's, and Cynthia says she has another announcement.
Yes, yesterday we had our National Night Out here in El Sereno at our Veterans Monument, and I also brought some of the public safety flyers. Since if you did not go to the event, they're in the very back. They're all about alcohol, drug use, everything that they were passing out to the community members that were able to
attend yesterday, I felt it was responsible for me to bring it here so that we all had an opportunity to have some of those handouts and brochures.
Thank you, Cynthia. Do we have any further announcements? Yes, Mr. Luna. Absolutely. So time to feel free to speak freely.
Hello, good evening, everybody. We're going to post on our website so it's accessible to all the community. I know that we've been, neighbor next door, we've been reading about the encampments that are happening on Stillwell and Huntington Drive. They were actually, we talked to Lead Officer Dominguez and they did clean it out. But as I drove today to this meeting, they were back again. But this is a situation that is being criminalized, but at the same time, folks in the community are concerned about it, and rightly so. And so what we want to do is, because of the new proposition HHH has been passed out, I'm not going to go into details, but it does talk about some of the changes. So if you see this is something that you might reference to that will help you. And this is going to be on our LA32 website. And it regards the homeless situation, encampments, bringing articles and abandonment of materials there. So if you have any concerns, this is the place where you can talk to. And we will be hopefully having more information and reasons to trying to locate the services that are provided to the city. So please keep an eye out for this on our website. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Luna. Any further announcements? Any further announcements from the board? The last thing I want to make real quick is a reminder. We do have the map over there. Feel free to step up, put a little pin by your street, by your local business, on how you're a stakeholder in our community. What that does is help inform us of where from within the community people are participating in our meetings. So it just takes about 20 seconds. Just find your little street. There's pins over there available. Pop it in there and just leave it on the map. And it just helps us to show how we're serving our stakeholders throughout the area. We'll now move on to item 6A. Do we have department reports? Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, are you here this evening? Do we have any representatives from our public safety officials, LAPD, fire department, CERT members? Any government representatives or staff out there? We have senators, Congress representatives. Okay, what we'll do is go down the list. C1 is U.S. senators. C2 is United States congressional representatives. Come on up, Roberto. Thank you.
Can you guys hear me?
Here we go. Good evening, everyone. My name is Roberto. I'm happy to see everybody. Finally made it back. This is my first week with Congressman Jimmy Gomez. I finally got my car, so I want to drop him off. I want to make sure we make ourselves available to you. I've been the field rep for Congressman Jimmy Gomez out here for the last 3 years, and I look forward to serving everybody. So thank you so much for your time, and it's great seeing everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberto. Do we have any representatives or field representatives from the governor's office? State senator's office? State assembly members? The county supervisor's office? Our mayor's office? City Council District 14? We have you here. Thank you. Come on up, sir.
Good evening, everyone.
There you go.
Hello. Okay. So just a quick update from CD14. Thank you very much, board and LA32 yesterday for a successful National Night Out last night. It was very successful, and the feedback that we got was very positive, and we really appreciate all your efforts and how you put it in it. And just quick updates. We're having a movie night on September 30th at El Sereno Park. That will be from 7:30 on once it gets dark. It will be a dog-friendly event. Just make sure they're on a leash for everyone. It should be fun. Last week's movie night was pretty successful as well, so we hope it's the same as well. And just another update, we have been getting a lot of calls in terms of like the center mediums being cleaned up. They have been, we did get our contracts renewed. So actually, for the major ones at least, for like on Huntington and Valley, those center mediums, they will be cleaned up twice a month. So every other 15 days, so that's good. Helps keep the community clean and all that. So that's very good, you know, in that part. Finally got the contracts settled. I know that was an issue and that hadn't been done in a while. But other than that, we do appreciate the support and the community here. It's a lot of, I haven't seen this many in a while again. But if you have any other questions, feel free to call our office and we're available anytime. Feel free to send us an email or anything. And that's pretty much it for today. Thank you very much.
Do we have anyone from the City Attorney's Office here this evening? Or the Budget Advocates? That will close item number 6. We now move to item number 7, which is discussion and possible action to approve our minutes for the general board meetings. The months included will be the month of June and July. And we'll now go to the recording secretary for information on the minutes.
So for the minutes for July, they're pretty incomplete because the footage is not up yet on YouTube of the meetings, so those are on hold. But for the minutes of June, they're pretty complete. There's only about 4 blanks in the whole document, which are names, but I'm pretty sure they could be filled out if I just ask you if you took note of the people that would second. It's about 4.
Excuse me, but in June's meeting, I wasn't here.
Oh, okay, well, I'm pretty sure like anybody. Yeah. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, so do we have those corrections, or can someone assist Stephanie with those corrections?
So I read the email last night, and I did see there was just a few things that were not there. I don't recall the call to order time, and it wasn't on the footage. I remember our meeting got started a little bit late. Michelle, would you remember what time that meeting started, or were you also here after the call to order? Anybody on the board know, write it down, what time the meeting was called to order?
I don't know because that wasn't like my official first day as recording secretary, so that's why some things aren't clear.
Oh, okay,
Just
that's
clarifying.
fine. Yeah. June, it was 6:04 according to the president's notes. And I did see something I wanted to make the correction. It's the community beacon, B-E-A-C-O-N. Okay, that was all. Yeah, that's fine. No, that was the only thing that I saw. But other than that, I don't know, maybe somebody else on the board can help you with those.
Anthony, is it possible to table this for the next meeting? That way we can have the time to do this correctly rather than trying to guess what happened.
Absolutely.
Can I make a motion to table this or postpone it to the next meeting?
Okay, let me see. I'm going to take notes. Jackie?
Yes.
Hugo would like to postpone the approving the minutes for the month of June and July until they're in order and corrected. We do have a second by Jackie. Do we have any public comment? Public comment on postponing the minutes for 1 month? Board members' discussion and debate. Do we have any discussion or debate on postponing the minutes? This is a non-funding item. We'll take a show of hands. All in favor of postponing the minutes for 1 month, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The minutes will be heard next month, September. Those opposed, raise your hand. And those abstaining, raise your hand. And that's 1. Okay, so item 7 is closed. We now move to item number 8, which is our treasurer's report. Michelle, can you help us out with the treasurer's report?
Yes. It is my honor to do this report to you because, as you know, back in 2013 when I took office, this board was in bad condition. There were exhausted efforts. The account was frozen, but thanks to Marlene Fonseca over there, who became the president, and other executive officers, we lifted. We showed them that we can work as a team, and the Empower LA unfroze the accounts because we worked very good as a team and we continue to do it. And then I got elected again as treasurer. We don't have a report, but the city clerk has informed me that there's been some concerns, and some of my colleagues have made reports that they're a little concerned and not sure on transparency. And that's one thing that I am, transparency. All the monthly reports are on our website. We have hard copies here at every meeting. If you need copies, we provide them. If you need links, we provide them. If you need receipts, we provide them. But sometimes some of my colleagues are not quite sure or don't understand the process. And I think it's because maybe it comes out from me, the individual, saying it. But I encourage my colleagues that have concerns to sit with the city clerk, because they will show you step by step of what we do here at Alley 32 as a treasurer. This fiscal year starts in July 1st, and there's been big, huge changes with the city clerk. Empower LA is no longer part of the funding aspect of it. Empower LA does just parliamentarian and assure that we are functioning. City clerk now is overseeing all the funding aspect. I am up to date on all my funding. I am certified on all my funding. You can email the funding department, the city clerk, to confirm. If you like a copy, I can provide one for you as well. It's called NC Funding System. Neighborhood Council Funding System is what it is. I cannot show you unless we have Wi-Fi and I log on and I show you. But I had to come up with this great idea because I do presentations and I'm very comfortable with doing presentations. So I did screenshots so it could put at ease some of my colleagues that are doubting my work. So I put together this little presentation. I made copies. We put it on our website, these copies. We emailed it to the board members because we're transparent, and we emailed it to our stakeholders, the link of our agenda with all our attachments. As you can see, that very first screen there, this is the screenshot of when I log on as your treasurer into the Neighborhood Council funding system. It gives you the budget amount, the expense up to date, the total outstanding, and the net available. Obviously, the expense to date is what we have been using with the credit card. What is it that we have been using with the credit card? City clerk has not given us access to view the bank statement. The June bank statement is not available, and I made this announcement last month that it will not be available till September is what they told us at the training. So I will tell you again that the monthly bank statement for June won't be available, so I could give you a full report and close out that fiscal year. For July, because they're still working on maintaining this website, we will not be able, all neighborhood councils, it's not just Alley 32 or here Michelle the treasurer, it's all 96 neighborhood councils that cannot give a monthly report because they haven't given us that access. But this is one of the screenshots here that shows you expense up to date. What are those? Well, I have all the receipts. And were they approved? Yes, because every time we have an event, we fill out a funding form. That funding form requires not only a funding event form, the budget expense of that event, and the board vote, which is not even called the board vote no more. It's a new form, which is now called the Board Action Certification Form. It's a new form that is specifically only for funding. So those are the three things that we submit through a portal so they can see. So if we move on to the next slide shows you here the Neighborhood Council funding system. These are payments that we request. So if we want to do a payment to an MPG, Neighborhood Purpose Grant, Ascot Athletics, a little green check with the money sign, that means it was approved. That means they got it. So we no longer send the check. Now the city clerk sends it, but before they send that check, I have to send them all the proper paperwork, which is the application of the MPG, the board count, or the new form that I just said, the Board Action Certification Form. When they see these two documents, they confirm, they clarify, then they send me that little green check telling me, so I would come tell you, yeah, they're gonna send the check. But since monthly report is still not up, bank statement is still not up, I cannot give you, this is exactly how much we have spent until I have that bank statement. But I can give you a rough idea of where we're at, because I think this would put at ease my colleagues that had those concerns or doubts. So these are all requests that we submitted. Every time we submit a request, they deny it, if it doesn't have the proper paperwork. They deny it if it's missing paperwork, and they email the entire board. So I can see why some board members were confused, because they see that we requested, and they see that it gets denied, but it doesn't give you the details of why it was denied on the email. It gives you the details on this neighborhood council funding system. How does it give you the details? Because when you go and you say, why was it denied? You click on what was the purpose, and down here, it tells you the name of the person, as you can see right there. It tells you the name of the funding rep that denied it and the status of why they denied it. And then it gets a second look at why they denied it. All the event forms were approved in June. We sent them the first week of July, and they denied them all because they said event forms are done the old way. Email. So they go, we're going to deny it, and it's going to look like we're denying, but we got them through your email. So maybe that was a concern that some of my colleagues here were kind of wondering, there's something funny going on, without asking first. So when that happens, it goes there and it says denied. Then it goes here again also, for example, this one's the neighborhood purpose grant. Martha Carbajal was the first level reviewer. She approved it because she looked at the board. And Andrew Chow was the second reviewer, and he approved it. Approved, stamped, and it gets sent. This is how you submit a payment request. This is what we look at. This is what I'm looking at. A payment request will only be submitted once we have the board certification approved, which is the board vote, and the proper documents, which is the MPG application, or the invoice. And this is once the board approves. So I don't get to, just because I want to spend money and I have power, like I was told, that I could just go in here and start submitting requests and they're going to grant these payments because I'm just doing it. I'm sorry, but that doesn't happen like that. I don't have that much power. As you can see down here, in this little piece right here where it says, choose your file, payment request document, board action, certification. If those two forms are not submitted, it gets denied. So I don't have as much power as what I was told earlier. I need those forms when we sit here with the board, then we send it all together. Then if you look at this form here, the credit card transaction, this shows you what we have been swiping the card with, because it's no longer where an event gets approved and the board member gets to go spend the stuff and lug it around in their car, and then not all snacks get taken care of, then we can't get them back. Eventually it was happening with so many neighborhood councils that items were just kind of, not all there at the event. They weren't showing up. So they decided to say no more board reimbursement on an event. It has to be through the credit card of the treasurer of that neighborhood council. So make arrangements for the treasurer of the neighborhood council to meet with those people to swipe the card. So these are things that we have. As you can see, July 3rd, we did the public storage. We did here Jeremy Espinosa for the business, the banner for public safety, La Cocina, which was for the Coffee with Cops, the Big Saver. And if you want to know, you see it doesn't give you details. What event was that? Then you would come here and ask me, hey, can I see your treasurer's book? Then I would show you and tell you that receipt. Here's the board certification form, and here's the event form. All the paperwork that supports that. So before I even swipe the credit card, I need to show city clerk documentation. I just don't swipe the card because I just want to or I feel I need to. So then the next slide here tells you the budget allocation. I don't just switch money around because I want to. And this was a very concern that the city clerk specifically told me, make sure you explain this slide very detailed, because some colleague is very concerned thinking or assumptions that I just go in there and move money around. I can't do that. Look at that bottom. Look at that bottom little box. What does that bottom little box say right there? Board action certification. Choose a file. I choose a file. I would have to have that here, public, live, voted, signed, second signature signed, send it to them. So it's not like I have power and I say, let's just put a lot of money in my committee or in this committee, and public safety doesn't get anything because I have power. Sorry, that's wrong news. It doesn't work like that.
Michelle, please
so
order with the
yeah, I know. I'm going. I know this is part of it. I'm explaining details because there's a lot of confusion. So that's how the budget gets allocated. We vote on it publicly here, and then I go into this screen once it gets reallocated, approved, and then I make the changes there. Then the next one here, the monthly reports. As you can see, I screenshot for you that there is no data available. The system does not allow me to see the monthly report for July nor June. And this is a key screenshot so you can see that it's just not gonna happen till September, like the way the city clerk told us at the training. So this is what we're looking at. Every time there's a pending, we have 10 days. Once we swipe the card, we have 10 days to upload the receipt, whether it's on PDF or picture. If it doesn't get uploaded in 10 days, they will freeze the account. And they make that very clear. So within 10 days, once the credit card is swiped, receipts are obviously quickly uploaded so they don't freeze our account. So I just wanted to show you that, and hopefully I will take back the concerns and tell them, we can expedite something to get these monthly statements for you to be at ease. I will let them know and just continue to wait until the city clerk says, okay, here you go. You can now go ahead and view your monthly statement. So for the monthly report, this is all I can offer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Is there anything further from the board or questions for Michelle?
Just, before we used to get an allocation on a line by line per each committee. And so when I was looking down at that particular chart on the right, at the bottom, it says office, 33.1% of the money as allocated is for office. And then there's another amount called outreach. See, before we used to get it all broken up, and each committee would then know how much money they were getting allocated. It seems to me that I kind of like that a little bit better that way, because each committee would then say, oh, this is how much money I've got left, rather than just a general kind of like office, uncategorized, and also outreach. It's a little easier if it gets broken down. I don't know if that's possible or not.
Sure. You will provide an answer for you right now, people.
So this screen here, this is how the city clerk has created their neighborhood council. If you look at general and operational, this is how they have determined outreach. But if you look at later on when we reallocate our budget, we're going to show you a draft that it does break it up into committees and exactly how much money each committee has. But the city clerk, this is how they have categorized it. I didn't recommend this. I didn't create this system. This is something that you can maybe email the city clerk and let them know, hey, can you break it down on this screen? But for now, this is what they have. General and operational expense, the categories that I'm reading, general and operational expense, neighborhood purpose grants, community improvement. Those are the three categories that they have given us, not us or I went in there and say, this is how it's going to look. So that would be something more with them. You'd have to ask them.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Is there anything further from the treasurer's report? Anything else, Michelle?
No, hopefully I'll have something else.
That's fine. Thank you for being a little bit patient, but that's how we work our money, and Michelle is getting an A with handling our funds. She really is. So thank you very much, Michelle. That will close item 8. We'll now move to item number 9, which is discussion and possible action that the LA 32 Neighborhood Council take the following actions of a grievance. Item number 77, which was submitted by stakeholders, and then Article 8, Section 1A1 was the proposed violation. These violations are against myself as the president. Basically, what we need to do is create a ad hoc panel, which consists of four people, 2 board members, 2 public, a total of 4. The outline is set up
Mr. President?
10.
Mr. President, may I interrupt you for 1 minute?
Yeah.
We do have some items on this agenda that we have a lot of stakeholders that are walking out the door. There's a situation that's happening out there in consideration of all of the people that are in this building. Can we please move these items forward so people can get out of here and go home?
They can be moved. I don't select which items I want to hear. That would be very unfair.
I would like to move those 2 items. I believe it's 18 and 19. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay,
Thank you, Hugo.
That's the way it works. I don't pick and choose what I want to hear because it'd be a different type of meeting. So Cynthia asked requesting to move an item out of order, which is acceptable. And there was a name right down, Cynthia. And a second by who? Second by who? Hugo. Excellent. Thanks for bringing that up, Cynthia. And that's where we do conduct business. I just don't make the decision like Michelle doesn't make all the decisions. So we'll now move to item number 18 if the board approves.
Need a vote.
Yes, we do need a vote, exactly. So I'm going to check right now. All in favor of moving item number 18 out of order at this time? We'll move to item 18. Please raise your hand.
Point of clarification, clarification. Would you tell us which one it is, which item we're exactly, because
18.
I'm sorry, I did not,
It's new business, item number 6 and 7.
no, item number 6 and 7 of new business.
That's right.
So it'll be formally item 6 and 7 under new business. But if people say 6 or 7, actually we just closed item 7, which was the minutes. Item 6 was earlier. So
6 and 7 of the new business
under
has
the new
been numbered
business
as
formally, but it's number 18 and 19.
Correct.
All numbers go consecutive because we don't want this type of confusion. So it'll be 18 and 19.
Can we move on with the discussion?
Right, well, they just want to make sure we know which item we're talking about.
We already know, it's new business.
Does everybody know items 18 and 19 that we heard out of order? Please raise your hand if you want to hear them out of order.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those opposed, raise your hand. And those wishing to abstain, raise your hand. That is approved. At this time, we now move to item number 18 on the agenda, formerly item number 6 under new business, and that's the
Thank you,
stakeholder
Mr.
initiative.
President.
Yeah, the stakeholder initiative. Those from the executive committee, since I was not there, present at that agenda setting process, whoever handled this and accepted it, just make an introduction. And we do have the stakeholder initiative. It's attached to our agenda. Did the stakeholders get this? Cynthia?
Yeah.
They're
They're in there.
Okay, so the stakeholders out there, the way the stakeholder initiative works is anyone in the public who lives in our areas is allowed to submit a motion. 50 words or less, 50 signatures or higher, and that's what was submitted to here, item 18. So the language on the initiative is motion that LA 32 Neighborhood Council shall send a letter to the city planning requesting a full environmental impact report on the proposed development, Rosa de Castilla Apartments at 4208 East Huntington Drive, Los Angeles, California 90032. And they should be included in the back of your agenda. Attachments, are they numbered? Attachments I1, I2. Correct. Excellent. So the way it works out is that motion comes before the board because the people are asking for it. What we'll do now is open it up for public comment because the board will be taking a vote. So is there any stakeholder cards for 18? I have one from Gabriel.
Mr. President, is there a specific time each person will speak, or are they all speaking as a group?
No, I'm going to check how many speakers are there.
Okay, thank you.
So I have one for 18, Jacqueline Monterrosas and Gabriel Chabron. Is there a Gabriel here? This is 19, Don, 19. I have one public comment card for 18 and one blank, so we'll wait for Gabriel.
And then I didn't get a public comment. I didn't see any in the back that I would like to speak.
Sure, no problem. So first, okay, great. Yes, I'll reread it. And I'm going to say not sorry, but we did have a large group this evening. We ran out of agendas. I will reread the motion. This is submitted from the stakeholders, which is you guys turning this in. it indicates, motion that LA 32 Neighborhood Council shall send a letter to the city planning requesting a full environmental impact report on the proposed development, Rosa de Castilla Apartments at 4208 East Huntington Drive, Los Angeles, California 90032. Then it provides the CPC parcel number and the ENV numbers, and then the attachments as submitted are attachments I-1. I did count them earlier. I did see 50 signatures, which is the minimum standard to submit this motion. And we'll now move to Jacqueline Monterosas first for public comment. And since you're the only one who have a public comment card, we'll give you 3 minutes.
Hello again. As we understand, the planning department will be making a determination whether we need an EIR or not. We don't anticipate any impacts that will require it. The projects are below the level of significance with certain mitigation measures. That's all I have to say.
Do we have any other public comments on this item? Yolanda? We'll give you 3 minutes as well.
So good evening to all. So the stakeholder who actually submitted the petition was not able to make it here today, but I am here to share some of her comments on her behalf. Pretty much this project that's being proposed is a big concern to many residents, and that's the reason why the petition was started. Land Use Committee did not request environmental impact report, not because they didn't think it was necessary, but because the way the agenda had been written, the motion, Dr. Tom Williams stated that they couldn't request for environmental impact reports because of that. As a result of that, stakeholders took the initiative to collect the 50 signatures to have this item on the agenda. Now, I just turned in to Secretary Cynthia Sandoval an additional 23 signatures, I believe, of other stakeholders who are much concerned with this project, and that is the reason why we are asking the board to please send a letter to city planning requesting environmental impact report, because there are many concerns, especially with parking, just the quality of life that is going to be given if allowed, what the proposal is. So we just want to make sure that when city planning makes any recommendations to the proposals, that the correct studies have been done in order to mitigate or to make sure that that is going to be appropriate for our community. So on behalf of the almost 75 stakeholders who signed the petition, I would request that you support this motion and request environmental impact report for this development. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yolanda. I don't want to leave anybody out. Is there still any stakeholders that wish to speak on this item requesting an environmental impact report for the project? Okay, now we'll move to board members' discussion. Was there a hand? Ma'am? Feel free, help yourself. I don't want to exclude anybody. So we'll give you 3 minutes as well. Let me reset my thing. Yeah, and just real quick, for all those that you see me when I'm on my phone, it's only to make sure that I'm taking count of time. I don't conduct business on the phone. So go ahead, feel free to introduce yourself and get 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Dawn Lorene. I'm a stakeholder. I live on Pyrites. I support the environmental impact report to be requested. The space, the traffic, as already mentioned up here, the quality of life for the existing residents would be greatly impacted, I believe. So I think we should just be really careful and submit a request for that. Thank you.
And just for clarification, your name again? Dawn?
Yeah.
Dawn. I have one public comment card with no item on it. I just want to make sure I don't miss them. It's Gabriel Chabron in here. It's for ARC Los Angeles, Alliance of River Communities. You don't want to speak on this item? Okay, I'll still hold that one. Here, goes back to the list. In closing, any additional stakeholders in closing? Yes, sir, a hand up? Yes, sir? That's all. I was just going to close it real quick. Feel free, come on up. We'll give you 3 minutes as well, sir.
I'm a resident. My name is John. I've attended 2 of these meetings now. The other one was at the towing yard. And, I just wanted to come here because, the developer has told us that...
John, just speak to us. They could hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, you speak to us.
The developers have told us that everything is fine. And during the last meeting, there were people that were speaking as if they were community members. And upon looking them up, they're actually employees of the company. We looked at photos of company events. So as a result, I can't believe everything that they told us. And as a result, I feel like it's very important for the community to conduct additional studies, especially because, even in this meeting, we don't have that much support here. I feel like a lot of the members of the community haven't voiced their thoughts or they don't understand what's going on. So, it just seems like they're rushing to make this happen, and hopefully, we have more time to get more community support to understand the impact, and getting this report done could give the community more time to make that happen.
Thank you for your input. Thank you for your input, John. Okay. Before you start, John made his public comment card. You had it in less than 1 minute and 15 seconds. I just want to count for time. What I'm asking though is, I don't want to keep asking and 2 more hands go up later, another hand goes up later, another hand goes up later, and we're here for 15 minutes. Anybody wants to speak on this item? All of you, raise your hand now if you wish to speak. You too, ma'am? Okay, then you'll be the last one. So this gentleman and then you, ma'am, who just raised your hand, will be the last public comment card speaker for this item. Sir, you get 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Manuel Bernal. I'll be totally honest. I don't live in El Sereno. I went to high school in El Sereno, but I don't live here. That doesn't make me less committed to what this project is all about. I am currently working for the Cesar Chavez Foundation as their Chief Executive Officer, actually Chief Operating Officer, and before that, not too long ago, I was the Director of Housing for the City of LA. So I know exactly what they're trying to build. I'm not employed by the organization, but I do have a stake in affordable housing. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I think it's a human right to give people a decent place to live. What ELAC is trying to accomplish here is God's work. Doing these projects takes 3 years at least, and what is being proposed here at EIR is going to delay the project even more. In the meantime, there are 58,000 homeless people in this county every night. Every night, there's kids, there's veterans, there's families that don't have a place to live. And to delay this process even more, it's really, it's a sin, right? It's shame on us. And if we have the power to expedite a process to have more people off the streets, then we should grab it. That's our responsibility. That's my responsibility as a housing advocate. It is their responsibility as technicians that know how to put these really complicated deals together. And it's your responsibility as part of the approval process to push these things along, right? The city voted, the voters voted to put more affordable housing, and we can't stand in its way. I'm sure you've heard, there's an article that was published in the LA Times on May 31st, huge homeless problem, and we need to do something about it. Every single one of us is responsible. Everyone's responsible. I'm responsible, they're responsible, you are all responsible. And we can't get it done without us all working together. So I commend what they're doing, right? It's hard work. I lost all my hair when I was 22, right? But it's, like I said, it's not an easy thing to do. And if they're doing this work, shame on us if we don't support them. That's it.
Thank you very much, Manuel. Thank you. Lady, raise your hand. I'll take you also 3 minutes. Come speak up and just introduce yourself and we'll give you 3 seconds. Yeah, this is the last one for this item and then we'll go to board members' discussion and debate.
Hi, my name is Cindy. I am a resident in El Sereno, and I'm also a optometry physician working for a nonprofit clinic affiliated with the LACUSC County Hospital and serve the underserved community and people in Boyle Heights and El Sereno. So I'm very in touch with this community. I actually have now signed a petition that's requesting for requesting environmental study because I did not even know about a petition that was going on, and that's why I want to point out that a lot of the local residents, we're not as organized as the commercial developers, but we definitely have a stake in this community, and our voices need to be heard, even though we're not as organized as they are because we're not commercially involved. But I just want to say that I personally am in support of low-income housing. I do see that there's a need for low-income and affordable housing, but it's about doing it with sensibility and doing it correctly. Now, this piece of land that the developer is trying to get approved for the 90-unit housing, it's supposed to be zoned for 30-unit housing. So the previous gentleman was saying that it's a human right to have housing. Yes, but what quality of housing are you giving these people? When you're cramming 90 units into a place that was fit for 30 units. And what about the traffic? What about the fire hazard? And all these other reasons that make this area to be zoned for 30 units in the first place. So I just urge the board to really consider this request to put in environmentally study, and I would like to sign a petition as soon as possible. I didn't sign it before because I didn't know it was going on, but if it's not too late, I would like to sign a petition.
You would be allowed to sign it if you're asking, which you are, and I believe Cynthia has your copy. So it's just up to you. Yes, we don't. Yeah, if you not. Yeah, we don't say no. You can't. Yes, if you want. So now we're going to move to board members' discussion and debate. I'm going to start to my right. Okay, Hugo. Yes, go ahead, sir.
I guess this is when I recuse myself. I'm a real estate broker. And so therefore, I don't think it's appropriate for me to deliberate on this, and I'm just going to remove myself, folks.
That's been very fair.
But do you have any vested interest in this?
Right. No, I have a vested interest because I live in that community, and again, the ethics violation could be where it could be perceived in the future if this property for some odd reason were gone for sale, and I would be part of that sale in some case. So I don't want that kind of violation either on my license nor from a government entity. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. And I just want to point out that what Sani was bringing up, that was the other day's time, would be something called a conflict of interest, which would be a monetary compensation or gain that he would be getting. He is recusing himself on his ethics and morals. So it's completely in his right and completely proper. So Mr. Pacheco, thank you for that. Any other board members, discussion and debate? Discussion and debate regarding voting on the environmental impact report. Yes, Tom, to my left.
A clarification. The City of Los Angeles typically would proceed with what is called a mitigated negative declaration for such a project. I have seen maybe 20 in the last 3 months. However, not for low-income housing and not for homes. The difference between the mitigated negative declaration and the EIR, and they're always full, is that it takes longer because it's a bigger project. It's also a matter that you get 2 bites at the apple. That is, the draft environmental impact report can elicit comments from the public. That is then converted into a final EIR. So it does take longer, but it's more thorough. And this is a strange project and a kind of difficult location.
Thank you. Is there any other board members' discussion and debate for this item? Anything further from the board? Okay, this is a non-funding item. It was submitted through the stakeholder initiative process. which basically compels us or forces the board to take an action. At my understanding so far, they have complied with their requirement, 50 signatures and higher, which I believe now they're up to 73, which is my last count, and possibly higher than that. And the motion as read, I'll read it one more time before we take a vote. It's a non-funding vote, so just be a show of hands. I'll read the motion before we take action. Motion that LA 32 Neighborhood Council shall send a letter, which actually becomes a resolution, to the city planning requesting a full environmental impact report on the proposed development Rosa de Castilla Apartments at 4208 East Huntington Drive, Los Angeles, California. The parentheses start CPC 2017-507 and the CDB-CU and ENB-2017-508-EAF and the parentheses. The attachments are included to verify the stakeholder initiative has been submitted. Board, it's time to take a position on this. All in favor of requesting the City Planning Department through a resolution to request for an environmental impact report, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those opposing this, raise your hand. And those abstaining, raise your hand. That will be 11-0-1. That motion is approved. A resolution will be prepared by myself. It will contain the exact language that's on the agenda today. I don't create any additional language. All I do is indicate that we did have a general board meeting, we did take public comment, that it was properly agendized, and this is the board's vote. That's the only input I give. So the resolution will be prepared and probably by Friday. So that was item 18. Now, item. Oh, sorry. Yes, now it's item number 19, discussion and possible action item by the recommendation of the Land Use Committee. The Land Use Committee has a recommendation. At this moment, I'll ask Tom to give an explanation or any input that he wishes regarding the committee's findings.
The resolution stands on its own wording. I tried to keep it as simple as possible. That is, that the board will oppose the project as currently defined unless it is amended in the future. That is, if there are alternatives that are committed to in the EIR process, those can be considered by the board at that time and make a decision at that time. So basically, the board will oppose the project unless it is amended. Amendments have been made already. So I say, as it stands, we oppose. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tom. That's the recommendation from the committee, and I have 7 public comment cards so far before me. If I do give the standard 3 minutes, it'll push us to pretty much the closing time, close to 9 o'clock. What I'm going to do is ask for 2 minutes each, and hopefully you can get your point across or mindset across or expression enough within those 2 minutes. And I feel like I should give 3 minutes because people don't use their whole 3 minutes anyways, but I'm just trying to be conscious of time. So I have these cards before me. I'm going to call Wally Muhammad and Salahi Muhammad. Are they here in the room still? Yes. Wally?
I just have a question. Are they going to present before a public comment or?
No, the presentation has been done at the committee, and this is the committee recommendation already. It's just a little bit different process, meaning they've made a presentation, and the public has had an opportunity to review it. The committee reviewed this and made their recommendation. So at this moment, there's no presentation from the.
Sure. Appreciate that.
So do we have Wally Muhammad and Saliha Muhammad? Yes. You guys are here?
Here.
Okay, come speak up. Come to the microphone. Yes, I didn't. I was going to almost set your cards down. Saliha Muhammad and Wally Muhammad. We'll give you 2 minutes, and you are Saliha?
Yes, I'm Saliha. I don't really have much to say. I just wanted to say that I was for the affordable housing.
So you would like the environmental impact report?
Yes.
So you're in favor of what's on the paper?
Yes.
Okay. I'll just write that for you.
Did you read the report or the last item?
Okay, do we have Wally?
Yes.
Wally, you could speak, sir. We'll give you 2 minutes as well.
Okay, my name is Wally, and yes, I'm for affordable housing. I was thinking, especially for veterans, affordable housing, because many times they have situations that happen to them because of their life as a veteran, and it's pretty like misunderstood to like ordinary people. They don't. They see them as somebody is bothering them or something sometimes. But many of them have problems speaking for themselves. So I think we here can speak out for them, and just to say, just basically speak up for them. So I think this is a good place to start. You know? So thank you for this show. Okay.
Thank you, Wally. I have another public comment card from Don Loreen. It looks like Laureen.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Don Loreen. I'm a stakeholder. I live on Pyrites in 90032. And I had a question. The people that are coming up here, are they stakeholders or just public comment mixed together?
I'm gonna answer your question briefly to give you as much time as I can. If they're speaking before us, they're a stakeholder here because they're in the room.
Okay, great. Okay, I think I've mentioned quite a few things already. There's an existing unit that's 50 units, and the proposed 90 units, I just don't see how it would fit. I believe that, you know, I'm not against affordable housing, but not at 90 units. The property wasn't zoned for that. I think it would be a danger. Over the 4th of July weekend, there was like 4 fires. There's a burn scouted spot on top of the hillside right above the area. There was a palm tree on fire. There was literally 4 fires within a 2-block radius of where I live at. Also on Broadway, they took away the 3rd lane with curb extenders. I talked to the person that was in charge of that project, and the traffic is horrendous. They're going to revisit it in 6 months. With 90 units, not enough parking spaces. It's going to be congestion, heavy traffic congestion. As far as, and with the existing low-income unit next door to it, they have a gang that's on the 2nd floor that everybody knows about, but yet they haven't been able to evict these people or get them out. The retail space on the ground floor is still boarded up, so I don't see if there's retail space put in this new plan, if this company comes up with a new plan, how that will get rented out. I don't see a retail store wanting to open its doors there unless it's cleared out. So I think that's futile. I don't see a benefit to the community. So,
Thank you. Thank you very much, Don. The next public comment card I have is Jacqueline Monterosas. Let me reset this, please. Go ahead now.
Hi, back again. We've actually made changes since the last Land Use Committee meeting. So I did ask for 15 minutes before the meeting, but I understand that I want to be respectful to everybody's time, not to present that, but I feel it's unfair to make a vote based on the presentation that was done before. Based on the changes. The changes are pretty much reduced to 85 units, and we mentioned this in the last meeting. We have 49 units for veterans, 14 units for seniors, which was something that was requested in the last meeting, as well as 20 units for families. We have also reduced the number of 3 bedrooms by 10, now have more number of 1 bedrooms and studios, which pretty much cut down the population, the people that would be housed, by about 60 folks. We also included a commercial component, which was not originally in the entitlements application. In the last meeting, we also provided that there would be 1,000 square feet. We heard from the community that may not be enough. We want to be respectful, that we believe that we can work towards bringing a tenant, a commercial tenant for the site, and hopefully activate the street. The incomes for the residents would be about as low as $400, with minimum incomes as low as $18,000. This is not people just from the streets. This is people like you and I who may be working on a minimum wage, who can become homeless any given time just by losing their job. So I just want you to consider that as well when you make your decision. We have had one community meeting we had one community meeting in April. We will be having a second one in September. And we have always tried to take care of folks' input. So it's not just the developer making decisions on their own. It is our responsibility to and work to make affordable housing possible for the lowest of incomes. And this is one of the ways that we do our work with getting community input. So
thank you, Jacqueline. I have 3 public cards remaining: Allison Savila, Sylvie Cogman, and Richard Acosta. So we'll have Allison first come up, and we'll give you 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Allison Savala, and thank you for having me. I'm with New Directions, who is one of the service providers that ULAC occasionally uses for their housing projects. I'm really here to invite you guys to come and see some of our housing projects that I oversee. We've got sites in El Monte, Boyle Heights, North Hills, called Sepulveda, Burbank, and Glendale. Some of those sites really do sort of reflect some of what I'm hearing here as far as some of the issues that people are maybe unsure about, as far as the community members, about parking, for instance, about what transportation looks like outside, how busy the streets get when these types of individuals live in these apartment complexes. Also, as far as levels of mental health needs that some of them might be facing. So I am a mental health counselor. That is, my training and background. And really, I oversee the permanent supported housing sites as far as, ensuring that we have a good screening system for bringing the people into these housing projects that will succeed. So, with the Housing First model, there's many different layers of housing. There's the shelter, which is sort of like the lowest or highest acuity, I would say, but like lowest functioning. And then you have up to, real permanent housing, which would probably have a lot of vehicles and a lot of people per home and could create more traffic. And these guys kind of like fall sort of in the middle. The permanent supportive housing element really, there aren't very many people that own cars. There aren't very many people that are traveling in and out per day. And like I said, I really do. I'm gonna leave my card with you guys, if any of you guys, just to sort of inform yourselves and educate yourselves and help the community, that you guys can come visit any time and you can see how many people actually own a car, how empty our parking lots are, how little of an impact it has on the streets in front of the area. I live in El Monte, about 4 blocks away, from our site in El Monte. And so I watched it come up as well, and I do know how difficult it can be for something like that to come as a change. But I was, really happy to see the results and working with City Council there, and just see what a great impact it actually has had on the community. So,
thank you, Allison. The last 2 cards I have is for Sylvie and Richard. Sylvie. Are you here, Sylvie?
She left.
And Richard Acosta, I have your card here.
Okay, my name is Richard Acosta.
Just start your time, 1 moment. I want to be fair. Okay, now sir, your time. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Richard Acosta, and one thing I want to say, it's not shame on us, it's shame on them. Okay, the community is oversaturated. And recently there was an article about Councilman Jose Huizar, who has a project very similar to this in Boyle Heights, next door to El Mercado. Councilman has said he's against the project. The nonprofit has been deceptive. They tell you one thing, they change it to the other. So if he's being deceptive from the nonprofit, what is the community going to believe? Now, it's very similar. Same thing goes. As far as they tell us one thing, and then when we turn around and we use the same words they're using, homeless, we never said homeless, but yes, they did. Okay, same thing in Boyle Heights, is same project. And Councilman Jose Huizar is more concerned, I don't know if it's his concern that he lives in Boyle Heights, or he's more concerned about his district. Okay, he's more concerned about losing commercial retail space, which this is very similar. It was a commercial space that these people are going to be losing a market in that area. Okay, the other thing is it will become a dead zone. The other thing is the same thing with the homeless. He's worried about, people are worried about their safety. They go to the family functions at El Mercado and stuff. Even Councilman Huizar was quoted in one of the articles that he was concerned for his own private safety when he was approached downtown by some of these clinically mentally homeless people, because they're very aggressive, and the problem is, it's not shame on us. You could say it's an LA County problem. Yes, it is. But you know what? We are not all of LA County's problems. All of Huntington Drive is all low-income housing. They're calling it affordable housing. No, it's not affordable housing for you and me. It's low-income housing, extremely low-income housing, the chronically homeless, and the chronically diagnosed mentally patients.
Thank you very much, Richard, for your time. I don't want to exclude anybody. Do you have any further public comment? I see you standing. I don't have a card, but I just can always ask.
There was only one card, so I put 6 and 7 on the previous one.
I do remember.
Oh.
So yes, let me just reset the time around. Hold on. And you can start now. Thank you.
Okay. So we are aware that there is a need for affordable housing, and we just need to make sure that it's done in a responsible manner. This project, I don't think is being done in a responsible manner. It's not well thought out. ELAC, at the committee meeting, one of their team members did share with us that ELAC bought this lot thinking that they were going to be able to build these many units. But they didn't take into account the Northeast Hillside Ordinance, which limits the building on this lot and the zoning that this lot has. By right, they found out they could only build 24 units. And what they're asking, 90 units, that's more than 3 times what they're allowed to build by right. Okay, parking spots, they're not going to have enough parking spots in their proposed project. As residents of this area, you're very well aware, I imagine, of the parking situation over there with Forever 21 employees parking there during the day. Residents have a hard time finding parking for themselves. You already have a large apartment complex at, right next to the proposed site. There's high density there. And to provide this housing for, the population that they're saying, veterans, or, low-income people, people who have mental illnesses, and to put all these people in this place that already has high density, I don't think you're being responsible or really thinking about the individuals that that are going to be tenants. What kind of life are you going to give them? It's irresponsible building. So I ask the board to please support the committee's recommendation and not support the project, oppose the project until they do something that's responsible. But as it stands right now, I think it would be a loss for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda. I'll ask one last time. She did have her public comment card. I even made notes on it. Any last speakers for this item? I'll see an show of hands. Sir, in the hand over here. Anyone else? Okay. Okay, then you'll be the last two speakers that I'll take, and then we'll go to board members' discussion and debate. Let me reset the time. And you can speak now, sir. Go ahead.
So I just want to say that I think we're all on board about trying to protect our most vulnerable in our society. But our concern is, as residents who live in this community, has this specific proposal been thoroughly and really thought out? Because at the end of the day, we are its neighbors. It's our neighborhood that it's going to be part of. And it's not going to be the people who develop it. It's not going to be for the people who work with a certain population. They don't live there. We live there. And this is going to be part of our everyday world. When we drive by it, when we walk by it, when we live by it, it's going to impact our lives. Has it been thoroughly thought out as to the impact it may have on us, right? Los Angeles has plenty of land to redevelop, to house its people in need. Is our community going to be one of the main, is there going to be a next proposal for that? Another piece of, proposition like that? So I think we just need to stop for a minute and thoroughly make sure we get all the recommendations and because when we were at the land use meeting, we were presented these images and they were not to scale. And so right away, it's sort of hard to believe in the system, into the company. They're not giving an honest portrayal that we feel as to what's going to happen.
Thank you very much. Can you just announce your name for the
Peter.
She's the last one. I don't know who she is. You can come right up. We don't want to exclude you. Go ahead. Oh, you have a card? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, okay. Letters of support.
Hi, my name is Ariana. I'm a resident of El Sereno and I have been all my life. And I have spoken in support of this project before and I'm here to do so again. As I've mentioned before, I think we have a beautiful opportunity here in El Sereno to say that there is a new, there is a new development being built of apartments that happen to be affordable and are going to be serving our most vulnerable populations. And not only that, but they're going to be providing on-site services for these individuals to heal, right, from their experiences of being homeless. So I'm just here to support and say that I disagree with a lot of the comments that have been made, especially those concerned with crime and gangs and blaming affordable housing development for being the cause of that. So yes, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Adriana. Thank you. I just wanted to say, just give a comment on what you just submitted, which was the
No, but I also want to give a clarification because the project on First and Lorena is not an ELAC project. Just want to clear that up. We have a good track record and we do not want to be associated with that problem. The letters that we submitted is 167 letters of support that we gathered from people who want affordable housing in this area. We went to the local church. These letters were actually delivered to the land use committee in June, and no one has ever made any mention from the committee of where the original letters ended up. So I just want to clarify that these letters have been submitted previously, and this is a second set.
Can you just provide a total amount of letters, an idea?
167 letters of support.
Okay. Thank you, Jacqueline. We'll now move to the board. Do we have any board members' discussion for this item? I'll start to my right. Board members' discussion over here? Nothing to my left? Okay. What I usually like to do is the first time you guys see this here tonight, hopefully they apply it throughout the city, it's called the stakeholder consensus. I didn't do it on the first stakeholder initiative because the stakeholders already submitted that. The stakeholder consensus is before the board votes, I ask you guys in the audience if you're in favor with what's in writing or oppose it. So we take a public comment. No one wants to speak on the board for discussion or debate, so I go back to you guys. The motion is discussion and possible action that LA 32 Neighborhood Council Board oppose the proposed residential project at 4208 Huntington Drive unless amended, and this is the Land Use Committee's recommendation. The stakeholders, which are you guys, in favor of the motion as written, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I see 14. Real quick, I want to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, that's 15. So we'll put 15. And those opposing the item as written. Opposing it. 1, 2, 3.
How many are stakeholders?
Okay, one moment, right. This is the stakeholder consensus. I initiated this here in our neighborhood council because I want to hear the voice of our people. If you're not a stakeholder in LA 32, then please don't raise your hand. Hopefully they apply something like this throughout the city because it just gives us an opportunity to hear your voice. But I call this the stakeholder consensus. So if you are a stakeholder, which means you either live, reside, conduct business, you come to our local churches, you've attended our meetings, like I mentioned the other gentleman, at least 3 meetings, I will consider you a stakeholder. So all those opposed as in writing, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I'm going to put 11. We can discuss that at a later time. I'm just trying to be very fair. This is a new process. I'm starting it, and probably the whole city will do something like this. But yes, I'm not trying to verify stakeholdership. I'm just trying to get stakeholder participation. That's what I'm trying to do.
As a stakeholder, we demand that they show that they actually live here. We've already been deceived in the last meeting.
Okay. Real quick. One moment. I'll find a way to resolve this. The bylaws. Hold on.
Last time she was insulting the gentleman.
Wait, listen. Okay. Listen one more time. Listen. I'm listening to the stakeholders. This is the people. I'm going to read from the bylaws, which is what we are compelled to identify the stakeholders. I'm not going to go checking IDs or nothing like that. Hopefully we take the truth and being honest. You guys have to be honest. I'm going to read what a stakeholder is. The neighborhood council membership is open to all stakeholders. Stakeholders shall be defined as those who live, work, own real property in the neighborhood, and also to those who declare a stake in the neighborhood as a community interest stakeholder defined by a person who affirms a substantial and ongoing participation. That's what I said. Ongoing, that's why I said please come to 3 meetings. Within the neighborhood council's boundaries, and who may be in a community organization such as, but not limited to, educational, nonprofits, and or religious organizations. That's the definition that I'm going by. I'm not going to verify it. It's self-affirmation. But we, and you guys are hearing it from the public, would hope that you're being honest. I have 15 stakeholders who support it under the stakeholder consensus that I'm starting, and you heard the definition. Those opposed, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with the guy here. 8 with you. So it went down by 3. So the people have been heard. It was initially 11. Now there's only 8. So 8 opposed to the stakeholder. Right.
Can you tell them their vote don't count?
Now what happens? Now the board members are mentioning it.
Can you let them know their vote doesn't count? That's just what you're doing
We
for fun?
take the final tabulation, and it's not, right, well listen, it's not for fun because the city might be applying this citywide, so trust me, I have a really good process going on here. What it is, not yet, no, not yet, but they're checking into it. So it's 15 in favor, 8 opposed, now it's our time. We take the official action. We will be making a decision at this time, no board member discussion or debate. Now, this is a non-funding item. I asked earlier, did you have something else
I
to
know.
say?
I didn't say anything because I wanted everybody to vote. And
okay.
I think that just similar to the bridge that they removed, and nobody was really happy until we brought one of the individuals who was building that bridge and to explain it. And he gave us a drone aerial view and gave us a presentation. I myself don't feel comfortable voting on this next issue because I am for affordable housing, but it has to be done right for the. I know everybody in the community, if it's done right, will be supportive. And what happens is it's not being done right according to some accounts of you're putting 90 units in a 30-unit property. So I think that we're kind of putting the cart in front of the horse. If we're going to get that environmental impact, I think we can make a better decision after that, or maybe even bring somebody like that to this meeting so that they can illustrate what exactly is going on. Because we're going on hearsay. We're going on what people think is going on. We should actually have the people who are doing that. I mean, we could send, I'm for sending the letter for the environmental report because that gives us more information. But to say we're not going to support it, I don't feel comfortable doing that. But I also understand the issue that a lot of the community members have, that they want people who are stakeholders here, meaning people who live here. But I think we should table that. I mean, that's just a comment. We should wait on that, get the environmental report, get the persons who are doing this project here, show us how they came up with these designs, so we have more information so we can make a better vote. Right now we're writing on emotions, and I think we're not really using all the information that's out there that's needed to make a rational decision. That's my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Luna. Is there any further discussion from the board? Okay, it's time to take our action. This is a non-funding item, so there's no roll call vote. And this is the official vote from us. Those in favor of the motion as submitted by the Land Use Committee, I'll read it one more time. Discussion and possible action that LA 32 Neighborhood Council Board oppose the proposed residential project at 4208 Huntington Drive unless amended. Please raise your hand. Right, in support of the motion as written in writing. The recommendation from the committee is to oppose it. If you support the committee's recommendations to oppose, you vote in favor. Right. If you oppose the committee's recommendation, that means you support the project and you vote opposed. If you vote in favor, just so the board members know, you're going with the committee's recommendation. Raise your hands again. 1, 2, 3. On this side, 4. Those opposed the committee's recommendation, raise your hand. And those abstaining, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. One board member did not vote. Okay, the board vote is 408. 4 is not in favor or majority of the 12 people that are sitting before you. It only got 4 votes in the affirmative. So we do not oppose we do not support. 8 is the majority, and they're abstaining. So this does not get a favorable vote or an opposition vote.
Don't you just take the votes from those voting? So it's 4 people who voted and
Just
8
the
did not
board.
vote? Yes, but 8 did not vote, so you don't count that as part of the majority.
Right, but they're still seated at the table though.
Or it's still not.
Yes,
Right.
you don't count abstains when you come to yes or no.
Correct. They're not yes or no, it's just the board did not come to a finding, yes or no.
So it's 4-0.
You follow me? We didn't come to a conclusion, we didn't come to a finding. So it's not, so this is basically like a draw. It's like a
So you guys are doing
4-0-8. Yes, for us to get a favorable pass, correct, we would have to have a minimum of 7 to vote in favor. 50% plus 1, there's 12 people sitting here. 6 is half, 1 more is 7. It did not get to 7. So there's no findings. There is no opposition or. Right, we have no position, right, that's what they're saying.